it's weird. It says I'm live, but the YouTube isn't updating. Still doesn't. Gotta sign out of my other account. Damn it. Okay. Am I live yet? Yeah, there we go. All right. Now I'm happy. Okay. Why do I sound like shit though? All right. Hi guys. Hi everyone. Sorry. I was actually ready early and actually prepared, but then at the last minute I'm like, I want coffee, and it just screwed everything all up. So how's everyone doing? I hope well. So yeah, I'm all about this trial lately. And I figure since I'm gonna be sitting around watching anyways, why not just invite people to come on over, stop by and say hi and watch it with me? But I'm not a lawyer, I'm not educated in any way, shape, or form to offer any kind of meaningful commentary other than just snarkiness and gossip, really. Just want to put that out there. If you want actual like real law commentary, I would highly recommend Emily D. Baker. Really anyone but me, but I recommend her. Now that I'm done trying to push everyone to go to another stream, let me go ahead and start this one. So for those of you who aren't aware, there's a murder trial going on in it's not in Canton, it's like Durhamville or something, Durham or something. It's right around Canton, Massachusetts anyway. And where an officer was found deceased out on the lawn of another officer's home. There was the victim is Officer John O'Keefe, and his girlfriend is being charged and right now tried for his death. Which this is I'm not a lawyer or anything. I don't watch these things really. I don't follow trials or whatever. But if every trial was like this one, like this would be like the best reality TV like ever. Like seriously. But if every trial was like this one, it'd be fucked up. Anyway. Let me go ahead and do this. I got to pull up the stream. So I'm going to be streaming it from Court TV. I think that's pretty much where everyone streams it from. All right. Live. It's not started yet. We're looking at a fan. So here, I'll go ahead and share screen. We can hang out and talk until then. There we go. Turn the volume up on that so I can hear it when it comes back. Re-edit. Why can't I do whatever? I'm learning that I can do more things with this. So I'm using StreamYards for anyone who's curious. I don't know. It's easy. I like things simple. I love to learn how to do more shit on the computer and everything, but streaming software has never really been something I've really cared to learn much about. So I like it easy, simple, whatever. Anyway, just waiting for court to start. So, oh yeah, I'm dropping a new video. I have to add the thumbnail to that real quick. So I did a video yesterday. It's been a while since I actually really recorded a video, went in and used like my video editing software and shit on my computer, and because it's just so slow. I hate using it. It drives me nuts, but it's easy. It's what I know how to do. Again, not a big fan of streaming shit or the video shit. But I went ahead and did a video yesterday. And I will be making that public momentarily. Okay. What time is it? 9. Yeah, it's a good time to premiere or put it out there, I guess. Okay, it's public for anyone who wants to go and check it out. I'm going to post it to Twitter real quick. And hopefully court will be starting any moment now. So how is everyone today? I hope you guys are all doing great. Today's Thursday. The week's almost over. Like, this week has been flying by. I think because I had 2 days off in the middle of the week, and like that never happens. So I don't know. I haven't known really what to do with myself lately. But thankfully this trial's been happening. So I've been watching that. All right, there. Got that posted to Twitter. Hopefully this should start soon. So I didn't finish watching all of it yesterday, but I just kind of skimmed through to the end. The cross-examination of Officer Buchanan did not occur yesterday, so hopefully that's going to happen this morning. Today's only a half day of court. It's just the morning session. So hopefully, I don't know. I'm kind of really, really looking forward to seeing what that cross-examination of this officer is going to be like. And how is it that the lead investigator for this case is not taking the stand? I mean, I don't think he is. I haven't heard anything confirming it one way or the other, but it's kind of strange. I'm told that he hasn't taken the stand yet, and his partner is up there on the stand for this. Like, I don't know. And especially since it's the lead investigator, Proctor, who found so many pieces of this tail light. I mean, how are you going to not have, whether it's a lead investigator or not, the person who found all of these pieces, you're not going to have him testify to it? It's crazy. Anyway, here we go.
Could I see counsel at sidebar about a couple of things, please?
Why even turn the microphones on if you're just going to go right straight to sidebar? I mean, why not just wait? I don't know. So I'm sitting out here in my garage because it's such a lovely day out, and I'm not working again today, like I said. So, and I never really just get to hang out outside. It's supposed to rain though, so that's why I'm in the garage. But the door open right here in front of me. Hear the birds chirping. My neighbor's not mowing his lawn for once. So who's that they're showing? I think that's John O'Keefe's family. Mother and father anyway. I think, unless I could be wrong. No, I'm pretty sure that that's the father. So for those of you though who are new to this, this is, I mean, if you have any kind of interest at all in like cover-ups or like police corruption or whatever, I mean, this is just like, this case seems to be just filled with it, allegedly. You know, nothing's been proven yet, but, and I'm not one who believes like there's just some grand conspiracy going on. I do think that there is a conspiracy, but I think it's a very small one, because to have a grand one, that requires a lot of people just never talking. And that's, I don't see how that's possible when humans are involved, obviously, but I think that a very, very small number of people might be in on it. Everyone else, I think, has just been kind of going along with the flow, possibly not asking questions, because it's kind of what the whole dynamic, I think, entails for a lot of those in law enforcement or who are have loved ones in law enforcement. Like the compartmentalization of things, I think, is just common. And that is John O'Keefe's brother. I heard someone say yesterday that the reason why he sits there instead of with the family is because he wants to glare like evil looks or whatever at Karen Reed. I don't know if that's true or not, but it does seem kind of weird that he's not sitting with the rest of the family, So either there's a reason for it or they're not seeing eye to eye about something. I don't know. But I mean, if someone was accused and I really believe that someone had harmed my sibling, I think I would want to glare evil looks at them for as long as I could. So a long sidebar. Like, seriously, why even start the stream? Why not just hold off until you're done with this shit? But whatever. Sorry, I'm over here looking at Twitter. I haven't even looked at Twitter yet today, except to post a few things. What is up with Katie Joy? I mean, I get it. She wants to win her lawsuit, or at least not lose her lawsuit anyway. I get that. But I'm not sure that it's just that. I don't think it's just that. I think that she really has some freaking hard on or something for Miranda Derrick, because she masks it as concern or care, but okay, so your voice, your mouth can say one thing, but your actions are going to reveal your real true intentions, I think, because no one acts against their best or their self-interest or whatever, but they will speak against it if it suits them. So she keeps saying how she wants to save Miranda, she wants to help Miranda or whatever, but all of her actions are hurting Miranda. So I'm of the belief that she really hates Miranda. Maybe Miranda embodies everything Katie won't be or something, but let's be honest, I think Miranda embodies everything a lot of women will never be, but most of us just deal with it, we don't, I don't know, go off on years long internet crusades against someone because we're jealous. But Katie does. Katie absolutely does, in my opinion. Anyway, what else is going on over here? Well, while we're waiting, I'm going to go ahead and just read some shit from not from Katie's Twitter. She doesn't have a Twitter, but from Twitter anyways. Wait, they're coming back, it looks like. Yep, they're back. Okay.
You are unmuted.
That lawyer, is that Jackson, Alan Jackson? He just looks so tired. That poor thing.
Hey. All persons have any business before the Honorable Beverly Canoni, Justice of the Norfolk Superior Court, in for the copy of the oath. Draw near, give your attendance, and shall be heard.
I hope you guys can hear it okay.
Massachusetts. This court is now open. You may be seated.
22-117, the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed. Can I have the witness, please?
So, good morning again, Counsel and Reed. Good morning, viewers. We appreciate your patience. Giving us this time actually helps streamline things today, so we appreciate that. I do have to ask you those 3 questions. Were you all able to follow the instructions and refrain from doing any independent?
Could you imagine not being able to read about this case or anything if you were on the jury? Oh my God, that'd be
also
torture.
able to follow the instructions and refrain from discussing this case with anyone since we left yesterday. Did anyone happen to see, hear, or read anything Anything about this case since we left yesterday? Thank you very much. Everybody answered those questions appropriately. Okay, can we have Sergeant Buchanan, please?
So this is Sergeant Buchanan, one of the investigators involved in investigating Officer John O'Keefe's death. He's not written down as the lead investigator, but investigator nonetheless.
I do. Thank you.
Oh, it can't be good. Gotta be glaring.
All right, Mr. Lally, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Circle back just to a couple things that from your testimony from yesterday. Going back to the video that you reviewed from both C.F. McCarthy's and the waterfall. In total, from those two videos, how many drinks did you observe?
So I got the sun drowning me out here, it looks like.
Over her time?
Isn't supposed to be sunny.
The video shows 9 drinks being consumed by the defendant.
And that's between when she arrives at C.F. McCarthy's until the time that she leaves the waterfall, is that correct?
That is correct.
And if I could turn your attention to the ring videos from One Meadows Avenue, Mr. O'Keefe's residence. From the videos that you observed, let me ask you first, as far as, do you know how those cameras work as far as when they turn on and when they turn off?
My understanding is that ring surveillance video is triggered to be recorded through motion. So if the camera detects motion, which is constantly live monitoring, and motion is detected, then that video is captured to a cloud-based system that retains that footage.
And from your review of those videos, what kind of motion would set those off? Like what kind of things would be recorded from the driveway camera?
Be activity in the driveway, such as a person walking through, bird landing, a vehicle pulling in, individuals, moving around in the driveway, and so forth.
And the search warrant that was applied for was any and all videos between January 24th and January 30th, correct?
For one of the search warrants, that's correct, yes.
And with respect to that time frame, what, if any, activity based on information that you had received was not available or was not shown on those?
I'm like really drowned out.
The data returned had video that would have been captured from the defendant arriving home after midnight on the 29th, after she dropped Mr. O'Keefe.
I'm just gonna turn my camera off until the sun passes over this little section, because it's making me look crazy. It's bouncing off everything in here and shit, so.
Off at 34 Fairview Road. That video was not present in the data that was returned from Ring. There was.
What, if any, other video in addition to that one was not present?
There was also video missing from the defendant showing Ms. McCabe and Ms. Roberts the damage to her right rear taillight.
And what, if any, follow-up or what, if any, inquiry was then done?
I'm curious though, he said a minute ago that it showed like drinking like 8 or 9 drinks or whatever an hour. How do they know what's in the drink though? I mean, was there a video of the bartender like pouring the liquor in it or whatever, and like how much?
With regard to Ring, as far as those types of videos or deletion, or how those videos could not be present?
Correspondence with Ring produced information that.
Sustain.
Let me ask just first, was there follow-up with Ring in regard to those videos?
Yes, there was.
And was there ever anything produced with regard to those videos or those timeframes from Ring?
No, there was not.
If I could turn your attention over to your time in Dayton, just in reference to subsequent to that later on, what, if anything, did you receive, or what, if anything, did you request? What, if anything, did you receive from the Dayton police in regard to January 29th, 2022?
Oh, no, wait.
I communicated with the Dayton Police Department requesting documentation from their officers' calls for service at our request, and log log notes, logs from their dispatching center, as well as any reports that would document their activity if such reports existed.
And what, if any, information did you receive in relation to that?
I received a log note or log printout from their CAD system, and I received a report authored by Officer Barrows.
And did you also receive any 911 calls?
Yes.
And who was the party as far as the 911 caller in regard to those 911 calls that you received?
It was Mr. Reed.
And again, just for clarity purposes, that's the defendant's father, is that correct?
That is correct.
And that's from the morning of January 29th?
Oh, that's
Is that
when-
also correct?
He tried to get
Correct.
appointed.
Now, sir, if I could turn your attention to February 3rd, 2022. At some point that morning.
Temporarily, that is not
Where did you-
permanently.
During the morning hours of February 3rd, we planned to meet at 34 Fairview Road. Myself, Trooper Proctor, and Trooper DeChico arrived at that location in order to conduct a secondary search of the area as the temperatures were turning and the snow was melting naturally. We
Naturally.
decided to do another search for articles that were now, we realized and learned, were missing and could be of evidentiary value and aid in the, in the investigation.
And with respect to going to 34 Fairview Road, what, if any, tools or what, if anything, did you bring with you, you and the other troopers?
But he didn't find those things.
Conducting that secondary search?
I requested the troopers bring shovels, rakes, anything like gardening items that
Oh,
would
leaf
help
blowers?
them to
Huh.
dig through the snow and locate any missing items.
And as far as the temperature change that you're talking about, how precipitous a change are we talking about?
The temperatures went above freezing, so the snow did begin to melt, and it was significantly
34?
warmer compared to the 18 degrees the night of the incident.
Now, you mentioned items of evidentiary value that you had learned of and were looking for. What, if any, clothing items, Mr. O'Keefe, were you looking for specifically on February 3rd?
We were specifically looking for Mr. O'Keefe's baseball cap.
Did
And in addition to yourself, Trooper Proctor and Trooper
they ever find
Pacheco,
that? I don't recall
who, if
seeing
anyone
it.
else, did you notify, or who, if anyone, from any other unit within the state police responded that day as well?
We requested the assistance of the Crime Scene Services section of the Massachusetts State Police, and Trooper Evan Brent showed up to assist us with documentation of the location and the evidence that we were hopefully going to find.
And from those, Trooper Brent arrived and took photographs, is that correct?
That's correct.
And when was it that Trooper Brent arrived in relation to your arrival?
I believe he was already present when we pulled up, but I'm not sure to his exact time of arrival.
And with regard to that day, what, if anything, in general terms, what, if anything, were you able to locate and where was it, generally speaking?
We located Mr. O'Keefe's baseball hat. We located a drinking straw from a cocktail glass. We located items of plastic, colored plastic, and other shards of colored plastic at the location. All those items were located on the grass portion of the yard.
So I have a question though, like, how do they know that these things weren't there before the previous night? Like, I mean, this was in front of the Alberts home, a home where it sounds like drinking and whatnot and shit is like regularly done, possibly even going out to bars and having everyone back for the after party. You know what I mean? So I don't think it'd be out of the ordinary to find any of these things scattered somewhere on the lawn. You know, like, I don't mean like they're just big slobs and they throw all kinds of shit out on the lawn. I mean, just like something getting dropped or whatever and no one realizing it and it just sits there. You know, that happens. So how did they know that that wasn't the case with some of these things found?
Yard near the flagpole at 34 Fairview Road.
And Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Honor, may I have a moment? And Sergeant, I'm going to show you a series of photos, but I'm going to break this up a little bit.
So, Mr. Lally, with your back to the jurors and the air conditioning on, I'm sure they can't hear you.
My apologies. So what I'm going to do is show you the photos series up, but I'm going to bring them up a little bit just to make it
Okay, sir.
hopefully quicker.
At least they have air conditioning in there. I thought that they didn't have that.
So first I'm going to show you 10 photographs. Ask if you could review those, look up when you're finished.
Seriously though, about like my last question, like how do they? I mean, these were bars that the Alberts, for example, are have frequented, right? So even if you can connect like a specific kind of straw or whatever or cup or whatever to a specific bar, it's not a crazy thought to think that they might have been there the week prior, or someone might have been there the week prior, and then at the Alberts home. How do they know this shit? I mean, I don't know.
Thank you. Do you recognize those, sir?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize those?
The photographs documented the items located at 34 Fairview Road on the grass as the snow receded through the melting temperatures that were revealed
On what days though?
to be positioned in the grass.
And what's contained in those photographs, is that a fair and accurate portrayal of what you observed on the front lawn area of 34 Fairview Road on February 3rd?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Third.
Yes.
It was days later. And was the
Any
crime
objection,
scene, like,
Mr. Jackson?
was it secure the entire time? I mean, that's crazy. Okay, I'm going to pause this for 1 second. Think about it. If the crime scene wasn't secured for those days before these things were found, because one of the people who's been kind of accused of having something to do with something that possibly really happened is the homeowner for the lawn in which these things were found. So there's someone right there, literally feet away from this crime scene with a vested interest in what's produced from these searches. If this shit wasn't secure, I mean, that's insane. Man, I really hope that they get to at least some cross-examination today. I have to work tomorrow, I think. And if I'm not working, then I'm going to Darien Lake. So either way, I don't even know if there's court tomorrow. If there is, I'm not going to be able to watch it one way or the other.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, with the court's permission, if I could just ask to publish some of these photos. For the
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Just one moment,
Let's
Your
see
Honor.
that.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could start with photograph 765.
I can't hear him. I don't think captions are gonna be any good. Oh, no, they don't have them yet.
And Sergeant, do you recognize what's up on the screen and what's now been marked as Exhibit 468?
I do.
No idea what he said.
For orientation purposes, describe to the jury whereabouts in relation to 34 Fairview Road we are in this picture.
As standing on the street at Fairview Road, we're looking at the left side of the yard. In the top right corner, you can tell
Okay, so here's the
that there is a flagpole depicted in that photograph and a telephone switch box
Over here, maybe?
that's open on the left side, which is on the border of 34 Fairview Road.
If I could ask from this photograph, if you
So the house would be like over here,
along the front line
probably
area
over
of
here.
34 Fairview Road, is that from a natural melting
You can
process,
see
or
the
is
house.
that from some things that you and your process when you're secondary?
The reason that grass is exposed is due to
Oh, yeah, you can.
processing of the scene and having the snow being moved away from the location and then natural melting process taking place on top of it. As you can tell, other portions of the yard is covered in snow, and the snow has not, the grass has not revealed itself just yet.
Okay, but there's been a plows going by too. I mean, anyone who's lived anywhere with their snow, especially with snow plows or snowstorms, where you get more than a dusting or whatever, knows firsthand that the very first snow melt of the spring, you find all kinds of shit all over your lawn that weren't there in the fall.
As far as the photographs of various items that were located on this date, February 3rd, the photographs that were taken, were they taken as they lay, or were they touched or manipulated in any way prior to the photograph being taken?
The items photographed were discovered as soon as we realized what is being discovered through the digging and excavation process. They were then photographed instantly. Certain items were revealed naturally through the melting process and no longer concealing those items underneath.
Thank you. Ms. Gilman, could I have photograph 7666? And again, sir, do you recognize what's up on the screen? It has now been marked as Exhibit 470.
I do.
And what do you recognize that to be?
That is a clear black and red piece of plastic.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph
What?
7669.
So are they trying to say that it's not just the plastic covering of the taillight that popped off in a million pieces, but the actual frame for it too? From
Yes, that
That's
is
interesting.
another
Really?
piece of plastic.
And sort of towards the top middle of the screen, do you recognize what that is?
Yes, that's a fire hydrant from 34 Fairview Road, grass area.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have the next photograph, 4670. For the record, this is Exhibit 474. Do you recognize that, sir?
Yes, sir.
And is that a closer-up image of what was depicted in the prior exhibit?
Yes, it is.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7672. And sir, do you recognize what's up on the screen, which has now been marked as Exhibit 476?
I do.
And what do you recognize that to be?
Another piece of red taillight plastic.
oh, that looks like a strawberry to me.
Lastly, from this
Yeah.
batch, Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7673. Again, sir, do you
I'm also
recognize
hungry,
what's up on the screen, depicted in what's now marked as Exhibit 477?
I do.
And what do you recognize that?
That is the fire hydrant and telephone switch box located on the edge of the property line at 34 Fairview Road.
Now, the photographs that I had just placed before you, have you had a chance to review those?
I have.
And do you recognize what's depicted in those
Yeah.
photographs?
I do.
And what do you recognize those?
The property at 34 Fairview Road, left corner.
Exhibit 477.
I do.
Can't tell. Is that like an actual curb, or is it like where just the road kind of just gives the pavement gives way to the grass line? Is there like an actual curb, like 4 inches, a straight vertical wall 4 inches up off of the ground.
What do you recognize that?
That is the fire hydrant and telephone switch box located on the edge of
Thank you.
Your Honor, with court's permission, if I could publish a few of the photos from this set.
Okay.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7681. Sergeant, do you recognize what's up on the screen? It has now been marked as Exhibit 481.
I do.
And if you could describe to the jury what's depicted in this photograph.
A red piece of plastic.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have the next one, 7682.
Can you use the pointer to show us where that is, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gilman, 7682. And Sergeant, do you recognize what's depicted on the screen and has now been marked as Exhibit 482?
I do.
You know, I'm going to see counsel at sidebar for just a minute, please.
Wonder what this is about now. You know, the sun starts to like go up behind some clouds, and I stop looking like I'm glowing, like literally glowing, like I just ate a bunch of fucking toxic waste or something. And then I think, oh, I can turn the camera on, but then the clouds part and I'm looking worse than ever. Like I look like I died. I look like I died, and I came back as some apparition or something right now. That's what I look. It's just crazy. I can't. I wonder why. I mean, it's not just direct sunlight; it's bouncing off of shit or something. Because, like, it's just shining me all up. Like I put, like, I don't know, was it the highlighter stuff or whatever? Like I just put it all over my body. Like I swam in the shit. Like even my hair is glowing. This is crazy. I can't, like, I'm glowing so much you can't even see my nose. All right, I gotta show you just for a second, for a quick second. Like, look at this shit. This is crazy.
You are unmuted.
And it's not my filter. I turn my filter off and I'm even brighter.
I'm sorry, Ms. Gilman, 7682.
Shoot, I didn't think about the sun.
Sergeant, do you recognize what's up on the screen as Exhibit 482?
I do.
What do you recognize that to be? Is
A red piece of plastic.
that the same piece of plastic, the closer-up image from the prior exhibit?
Yes, it is.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7684. Sergeant, do you recognize what's up on the screen and is now been marked as Exhibit 484?
I do.
And what do you recognize that to be?
A white clear piece of plastic and a red piece of plastic.
And lastly, sir, Ms. Gilman, if I could have 7687.
Again, that looks like a strawberry to me.
Sir, again, do you recognize what's up on the screen? It's now been marked as Exhibit 487.
I do.
Now,
All right, here's my question though. So they're finding all these clear pieces of plastic, right? But they're alleging that it's her tail light and shit that cracked into 1,000 pieces or whatever. The red part. Where's all this clear piece of plastic supposed to come from? Like, it's not just like those reverse lights or whatever on the back of her car. I mean, because there's not that much space on the back of her car to account for all of these pieces being found. I mean, are they saying that this is all from a cocktail glass or something? And what about the one round thing that they showed the other day, but then they just shut the fuck up about it? Like, I don't know.
Sergeant, with reference to the photos before you, have you had a chance to review that set of 10 as well?
Not this one yet, not yet.
If you could, please. And Sergeant, do you recognize what's depicted in those photographs?
Holy shit,
I do.
heard him.
What do you recognize those to be?
Items that were located in the street, being the black cocktail drinking straw, and then black pieces of plastic, molding plastic, and clear pieces and
Pretty much anyone who came to the house after the bar could have kicked that fucking straw out or something. I mean, are you kidding me? A car driving by could have tossed it out the window. It was found in the street. It's a black fucking plastic straw. Are you kidding me?
molding from taillight.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm off to introduce in minutes the next 10 minutes.
Any
A
objections,
molding.
Mr.
The
Jackson?
molding from the
No,
tail
no.
light, they're saying broke from backing into a man at what, like fucking 7 miles per hour? No, okay, I have to throw this. It just dawned on me. She had an SUV, so chances are, in that kind of snow starting to fall, she might have had it in 4-wheel drive, or I mean, even SUVs nowadays, they come like all-wheel drive for the most part, but then you can go into 4-wheel drive when it's really, really bad, weather. So it's not likely that she would have lost control of her car and just like took off, skidding really fast and backed into someone, For her, and why would she even be backing up? I mean, did she have to turn around to leave? Or because from what I understand, the people in the house saw her SUV like inching up the road, and then it was gone. So what are they saying that she did? When exactly through these inching ups that were witnessed did she back into this man? And how fast do they think that she was going to do this? And no one heard her do this. Nothing. No one yelled. Like, the dude didn't yell after he got fucking plowed by a car. I mean, none of this makes sense. And now the molding from the taillight is now just popping off. Like, this has to be like the worst constructed vehicle ever. Like, seriously, if you're thinking of buying one, I'd think twice, but judging by their explanation. All right, I'm sorry. I'm done with rant. Hey, Skate Positive. Sorry, I just looked at the chat again. They're putting too much claim on taillight pieces. If you hit a turkey going 60 miles per hour, it might crack in order to shit. Right, exactly. Like, they're hard to break and crack. Anyone ever take a baseball bat to someone's car before? You know how hard it is. They don't crack easily. Allegedly. I don't know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your Honor, with the court's permission, if I could display some of these photographs.
Okay.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have 7688. And Sergeant, you recognize what's up on the screen?
I do.
What do you recognize it to be?
It's the wide shot of the drinking straw being found on the edge of the roadway
What?
in front of 34 Fairview Road.
Sergeant, if you could,
Where
you could,
is
raise
that?
the pointer before you, if you could direct the jury's attention to where you observed that straw.
What the fuck? Are you kidding me? That answers the question. There is a curve.
689. Sergeant, what are we looking at in this photograph?
It's a close-up view of the same straw.
Straw? Or is it a stir?
Ms. Gilman, if I could have
That's the question.
7692.
I don't know.
Sergeant, do you recognize what's up on the screen and has now been marked as Exhibit 492?
I do.
And what are we looking at in 492?
Piece of plastic next to a measuring ruler that's provided for comparison and by the crime scene photographer to document the item.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have
I'm confused what that
7695.
means. Like, what is that? They put a ruler next to that, but nothing
Now,
else.
Exhibit 494. Sergeant, what are we looking at in 494?
It's the same item from just prior, just zoomed in more, showing the detail of the black molding, the clear clear plastic and red plastic.
Sergeant, as far as those photographs before you, have you had a chance to review those?
Yes, I have.
And do you recognize what those are?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize those?
They're pieces of red plastic, pieces of clear plastic, and a piece of glass.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm about to seek to introduce and admit the next 10 exhibits.
No objection.
Thank you.
I like his tie. It's a nice tie. Yeah, it is crazy though. They're saying that all of these things just popped off the back of the car from backing into human. I mean, how did that vehicle even stay together going down the road with like rock salt or something like that flying at it from the plows? Like, I'm surprised it didn't just like shatter to pieces.
Thank you.
And the driver just be like still in there, like
Your
car
Honor, with the
frame is
court's
all
permission, if I
flying
could
off, and they
publish
just like
just a
skidding
few of
down
these
the road
photographs
with
for the jury as
sparks
well.
and shit.
Okay.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7700. For the record, this is now exhibit 498. Sergeant, if you could describe to the jury.
I haven't seen rulers in all of these pictures.
We're
Have
looking
they?
at a red piece of
been there?
plastic next to a measuring ruler on the edge of the grass on the property at 34 Fairview Road by the road.
And if you could, sir, using that laser pointer, just direct the jury's attention to where you observe that item to be within this photograph.
Right there.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7705. And for the record, this is exhibit 502. And Sergeant, if you could, again, describe to the jury what, if anything, of significance you noted there.
It's a shard of red plastic next to a measuring ruler.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7708.
Oh, more
This is
more
now
molding.
exhibit
Yep.
504. Again,
Boy,
Sergeant, if you
why even
could,
bother using it if it's just gonna fall off?
Direct the jury's attention to what, if anything, of significance you note in this area.
There is a black piece of plastic molding next to a measuring ruler.
Dude, the molding didn't just pop off. It like
Last
shattered
exhibit,
off. Come on.
Ms. Gilman, exhibit, excuse me, photo number
Was John O'Keefe like
7712.
Superman made of steel or something, and that's how this happened? I mean, I don't understand. There's
Again, for the record, this is exhibit 508. And again, Sergeant, if you could, using the laser pointer, direct the jury's attention to what, if anything, of significance you note in this.
A clear piece of plastic next to a measuring ruler.
That's found on the grass area as well, is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, Sergeant, with reference to that new set of photos before you, have you had a chance to review those?
Yes, I have.
And do you recognize what's contained within those photographs?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize that those photographs to contain?
They contain small red pieces of plastic from 34 Fairview Road on the grass area where we located the others. Also contain a flimsy piece of circular, like very malleable plastic, clear plastic, in addition to that.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Come up, seek to introduce the witness the next 10 exhibits.
No objection.
Thank you.
Why isn't it Googling? Jesus. You Google anything with Canton MA and all you get is shit about this case. I mean, I don't want shit about this case. What's that one looking at? Damn it. Wait, what is this?
Thank you. And Your Honor, may I publish some of these photos for the jury?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7715. For the record, this is now exhibit 511. Sergeant, direct your attention to the screen if you could, using that laser pointer, direct the jury's attention to what, if anything, of significance you observe in this photograph.
That is the thin, malleable, circular in shape, a piece of clear plastic that was located in the lawn area of 34 Fairview Road.
Now, lastly, Sergeant, there's that set of photos that I just placed before you. Have you had a chance to review those?
Yes, I have.
And do you recognize what's depicted in those photographs?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize those to be?
There are items. Those are items recovered in the lawn at 34 Fairview Road. Those items are a shard of glass, a BPD baseball hat with an American flag, and stains of blood.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm going to introduce the minutes the next.
No
Sorry.
No objection.
Sorry, I wasn't looking at the screen. What did they find the hat? Is that what I heard? Is there DNA on the straw? Were straws used in the home? Was the drinking glass from inside the home or brought from a bar? Exactly. Yep. What is the circular? You read that there's the thing in the way. Something plastic supposed to be. You know, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but like, are you talking about the clear one that they showed the other day? Like there's a picture of it went up on the screen and then there's a sidebar and then just it went away and it was never discussed again. Like, because none of her headlights, none of that shit was round. This was like a perfect circle, you know, it wasn't like oval, it wasn't oblong or whatever, it was round. So if none of her shit's round, then where did that come from? And if that came from somewhere other than Karen Reed's vehicle, then chances are all these other things could have came from somewhere other than Karen Reed's vehicle, you know? Or if they're from her vehicle, I mean, there's other, I don't know. I don't want to get into the whole conspiracy of things, but there is the whole conspiracy of things. So.
5 what? Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Your Honor, with the court's, sorry.
Jim.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, may I publish some of these photos for the jury as well?
Yes.
I mean, were there any other car accidents for like in January or February of that year on this road or near this road?
For the record, this is now exhibit 520. And again, Sergeant, if you could direct your attention to what, if anything, of significance you observe in this photograph.
I observed a shard of glass next to a measuring ruler.
Oh, for
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have 7729.
And the way he said that, I observed it next to a ruler, like he found that and the ruler just sitting there.
522, and again, Sergeant, if you could describe to the jury what we're looking at here.
It's a larger piece of red plastic with black molding around the edge, located next to the telephone switch box on the grass area at 34 Fairview Road.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 7733.
Wait, so
For the record, this is exhibit 526. And Sergeant, from this photograph, what, if anything, are we looking at?
okay,
This photograph here depicts the area which we are excavating during the morning hours of February 3rd, 2022.
but where is
As the shovel works its way towards the grass, my laser pointer is directing your attention to Mr. O'Keefe's hat that was compacted underneath the snow on the ground.
Now, as far as this photograph is concerned, does that accurately depict the depth of the snow?
But no one saw the hat sitting there when they were
February 3rd?
working
It
on
does.
his body? I mean,
And
come
that
on.
again is several days after the blizzard of January 29th, correct?
That is correct.
And Ms. Gilman, if I can have photograph 7740.
Where in the yard was that?
For the record, this is exhibit 530. And again, Sergeant, if you could describe to the jury what we're looking at here.
We're looking at Mr. O'Keefe's hat on the grass, pressed down and compacted to a flat surface underneath the snow, which has been excavated around it.
Thank you very much. Ms. Gilman, you can take that down.
I mean, no one disputes that
Thank you,
that's where
Charles.
he likely died at. I mean, so that makes sense.
Sergeant, on February 3rd, 2022, is that the first time that you had been at 34 Fairview Road?
Yes, it is.
And with respect, if I could turn your attention briefly to the following day of February 4th, did you have occasion to go back to 34 Fairview Road on that day?
Yes, I did.
And what brought you to 34 Fairview Road on February 4th?
Having excavated those items on the 3rd, I directed the troopers in my office, who obviously reside in the communities around us, to make a point to travel by that location every day on the way to work and every day on the way home. The purpose of that was to see if anything else was to reveal itself as the snow naturally melts away and items could present themselves. So on the February
I
4th,
never noticed that.
as I am traveling to work, I diverted my typical route of travel to go by 34 Fairview Road. Just prior to my arrival, I received a call stating that there was Canton police representatives at the scene, and more items have been revealed due to the melting snow, and that I should come collect those items. I was down the
Who
street.
called them?
I arrived and collected the item that presented itself.
And if you recall, that item that you collected on February 4th, was that located on the lawn, on the street, or something else?
It was on the lawn.
Now, with reference to your collection of these items, either on February 3rd, February 4th, or on any sort of subsequent date, how were they collected, and what exactly did you do with them in reference to the seizing of the items and storage of the items?
Each item that was collected was placed in a evidence paper bag. The collection was done by utilizing latex gloves to prevent any transfer of evidence from fingerprints to DNA onto those items. Then those items were transported to our office, logged into the system, and stored in the evidence lockers at the office.
And each of those respective bags of items or evidence, they were sealed as well, is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, turning your attention to February 10th
Wait a
of
minute.
2022, did you have occasion to go back to 34
So when they had the forensics people on, what was it, like 2 days ago or three, I don't know, last week or so, I don't remember what day it was, whatever. They had forensics people on. And the date and everything on these, on the work or whatever done on these items was 2023. But yeah, wasn't she charged or she indicted or whatever in 2022? So what, they picked up these pieces, just knew that everything was going to come back as Karen's vehicle. It has to be Karen's vehicle. So they charged her before the shit was even like, put back together and shit. Huh.
Fairview Road on that day as well.
I did.
And what, if anything, did you observe, or what, if anything, did you seize on that particular day?
We seized more shards of glass and plastic.
And if you know,
I want to
or if
know
you
who
recall,
called him
how
back
many
though, saying, "Hey,
pieces,
more
did
shit's
you
appearing on the
seize on
lawn.
that
You need to get down here." I want to know who.
My memory is exhausted to that, but the exact numbers annotated in on the bags that the items were placed into.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm showing you documents, just ask you to look at that section and look up on your. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Sergeant, is your memory refreshed as to how many items or what the items were that you recovered on February 10th?
Yes, it is.
And what were those items and how many, sir?
There was 6 items of clear red and black plastic and 14 items of plastic and glass.
Now, in addition to the dates that you were present at 34 Fairview Road and recovered items, them being February 3rd, February 4th, and February 10th, were there other dates that you're aware of that items were recovered by troopers that you supervised?
Yes.
And if you recall, what were those dates?
The dates were January 29th, February 11th, and February 18th.
Were there items recovered on February 8th as well?
Yes.
Now, as far as your direction or having, let me first start with you. So on the dates that you were there, February 3rd, 4th, and 10th, were you alone on those dates, or were there other troopers with you when you were there?
On the 4th, I was alone as far as state police personnel. There were other Canton law enforcement representatives at the scene with me as I collected that one item. On the other days, I was accompanied by other troopers.
And as far as you know, obviously not being present, but from your supervision of these troopers, with other occasions where individuals were at 34 Fairview Road, were they alone or were they with a group of troopers?
Objection.
Sustained.
Now, as far as the items that were recovered when you were there on February 3rd, February 4th, and February 10th, did you have occasion to bring those items with you to court today?
Yes, I did.
And Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
So I'm presenting you with a box. First, just ask if you recognize that box.
I do.
And what do you recognize that?
It's the box storing items logged into evidence as they relate to this case.
And Your Honor, with court's permission, may the sergeant open the box?
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, first, Sergeant, with regard to the items as far as plastic and or glass that you recovered from 34 Fairview Road on February 3rd, if you could locate those items.
I mean, I think, are people really going to doubt that they don't, or doubt that they have the things in which they claim to have? I mean, why go through this entire show and presentation like this right here? And how does the court reporter take notes through that mouth thing? I mean, are these, they can't be speaking it, right? I mean, I want to know how that, is it shorthand? Is it verbal shorthand? I want to know.
And-
I'm curious.
And with respect to each of those bags, they contain items of evidentiary value, whether they be plastic or glass, that were recovered on February 3rd. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I'm sorry, how many bags in total do you have there before you?
I have 3 bags, 2 containing broken glass and plastic, and a stirring straw, a broken red plastic and clear plastic, and a bag containing 1 black Boston Police Department hat.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth will seek to introduce in minutes the next 3 exhibits.
No objection.
Okay.
No particular order.
Thank you.
Your Honor, with respect to what's now been marked as Exhibit 537, with the court's permission, may the sergeant remove that item, the hat, from the bag and display for the jury.
Yes.
I'm going to mute this for 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Thank you, sir. You can place that back in the bag.
Oh, cool. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not talking about what's on the screen. I'm sorry. I'm looking at something on my phone. I didn't want to sound like a dick there.
And Sergeant, from your observations of Mr. O'Keefe on surveillance video from both C.F. McCarthy's and the waterfall on January 29th, what, if any, similarities did you observe between the hat, which you just displayed and located on the lawn of 34 Fairview Road, and the hat Mr. O'Keefe was wearing in those videos?
It appears to be the same exact hat.
Now, Sergeant, with reference to the box of other items, if you could remove what, if any, items you recovered and seized from 34 Fairview Road on February 4th.
This is lovely.
And again, sir, just for the record, what's contained within that bag from February 4th?
Contained within the bag is a piece of red, hard plastic taillight cover.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth seeks to introduce in a minute the next exhibit.
No objection.
Thank you. Exhibit 538.
And lastly, Sergeant, with regard to the box, if you could remove the items that you seized from February 10th, 2022. And Sergeant, with respect to those 2 bags of items, if you could just inform the jury what is contained within those bags.
Bag labeled item number 10 contains 6 pieces of red, black, and clear plastic. Bag labeled number 11 is containing 14 pieces of glass and plastic fragments.
Thank you, Sergeant. Your Honor, the Commonwealth seeks to introduce and admit as the next 2 exhibits.
Any objections?
I'm sorry. No, Your Honor. Thank you. I'm sorry, was that 589 and 540?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Moving on from that, if I could bring you back just one last time to ring videos from One Meadows Ave, as far as you had testified earlier that there was no video that you observed the defendant, Ms. McCabe, and Ms. Roberts looking at the passenger side taillight area of the vehicle, correct?
That's correct.
Was there any video of the defendant, Ms. McCabe, and Ms. Roberts actually leaving from One Meadows Ave on that morning of January 29th?
There was not.
Now, as far as the videos that were not there, as far as the defendant, Ms. McCabe, Ms. Roberts leaving, the next video depicted Mr. Camerano arriving at the residence to pick up Ms. Furbush, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And with regard to the missing video of the defendant arriving at One Meadows Ave on January 29th, sometime after midnight, the video immediately preceding that, again, would have been Mr. Camerano arriving and picking up his daughter from One Meadows Avenue sometime around 11:30 p.m., correct?
That's correct.
And those videos were both present, correct?
That's correct.
If I could bring you back to February 3rd, 2022. On that date, did you occasion to meet a gentleman by the name of Brian Higgins?
Yes, I did.
And when you met with Mr. Higgins, who from your office was with you when you met?
Trooper Mike Proctor was from my office present during that interview.
And during the course of that interview, what, if any, documentation did Mr. Higgins provide you with?
Mr. Higgins provided me with a printout of a Celebrate extraction containing conversations via text message between him and Mr. John O'Keefe and between him and the defendant. He also provided a digital copy of the same extraction on a CD.
Wait a minute.
Now, what,
Did
if
he
anything,
did he provide the digital extraction, or did he provide screenshots of this? I think that matters.
did you advise Mr. Higgins of at that time as far as Mr. O'Keefe's phone and the defendant's phone?
I advised Mr. Higgins that we were in possession of both of those devices and would have the extraction and accurate documentation of those conversations.
And did he seem to understand that when you told him?
Yes, he understood it.
Objection.
Sustained.
Move to strike.
Strike that, folks.
Oh, that objection.
Now,
he
also on
agreed with
February
them.
3rd, at
Yes,
some
he's not
point, did you have
laughing at them
occasion
today.
to
That's
go
good.
inside of 34 Fairview Road?
Yes, I did.
And who, if anyone, did you interview inside of 34 Fairview Road on that date?
I interviewed Mrs. Albert.
That would be, just for the record, Nicole Albert, is that correct?
That's correct.
And who, if anyone, was present with you during that interview of Nicole Albert?
It was Trooper Mike Proctor was present with me.
Anybody else from the Albert family present in the home or present during the course of that interview?
Mr. Brian Albert was also present. I don't know who else exactly was present in the home. I just know that those two residents were in the room with us.
And where was Brian Albert at the time that you conducted the interview of Nicole Albert?
In the room with us, seated next to her.
Huh.
Now, with
So much for
reference
separating
to,
them.
I'm going to ask you just a little bit about sort of the interview process as far as the interviews that you conducted in this case.
Yes.
Seriously,
if
though,
you
like-
could describe to the jury.
Yesterday, he testified that, he like followed procedure. He separated the people and he interviewed each one, separately, independently or whatever. And now he's like, oh, no, he was sitting right next to her. Like,
Starting with sort of how many people from your unit are present for a given interview and how those interviews are conducted.
We conduct interviews always at pairs. I think I mentioned it yesterday. Typically, during a regular investigation into a homicide or any death investigation, we pair up our troopers with a local detective. In this instance, since Canton had recused themselves from interview portion of the investigation, they were not going to provide manpower for those interviews to be conducted. Thus, we had to utilize only troopers from our office in order to conduct those interviews.
And typically, obviously not
why would Canton recuse
perfect, but
himself
as
from
far
that?
as the interviews that you were present for,
I mean-
about how long a period of time?
I get why. I mean, they should recuse themselves from the whole thing, but like, why that portion of this investigation, but not anything else, you know, like not everything leading up to that.
Generally speaking, were the interviews that you conducted in this case?
From my experience, I've learned that to fully communicate a course of recollection of events that an individual observes, experiences, or is aware of, and understand every detail of that experience, it would take approximately 45 minutes at a minimum to conduct a full interview with a witness in detail.
Now, sir, if I could turn your attention to June 9th of 2022. On that date, at some point, did you have occasion to meet with the defendant?
Yes, I did.
And at some point during that meeting, did you have conversation with the defendant?
Yes, I did.
And was that conversation, or at least portions of it, memorialized in any way?
Yes, it was.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I can't understand it. I can't hear anything about the prosecutor saying, so I don't really know what.
Disc, does that contain an audio recording, to the best of your knowledge? Does that contain an audio recording of a portion of your conversation with Ms. Reed on June 9th, 2022?
Yes, it does.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm about to seek to introduce the minutes of the exhibit.
All right. No objection, Mr.
Portion.
Jackson? All right,
Right,
folks,
only a
before we
portion.
play this again, please be mindful of the instruction from yesterday. So you're about to hear statements allegedly made by the defendant, allegedly concerning the crimes with which she's charged in this case. Before you can consider any such statement as evidence, the Commonwealth must prove to you beyond a reasonable doubt that the
Okay, while this plays, I'm going to run inside and go to the bathroom real quick, and then I will be right back out. I want to just time up my phone so where I can listen to this with you guys.
Welcome to Thanks.
Okay,
Reliable, reusable period underwear.
I gotta
So,
fucking. Oh.
defendant made the statement she's alleged to have made and that she made it voluntarily, freely, and rationally. In determining whether the statement made by the defendant was voluntary or not, you may consider all the surrounding circumstances. These include when and where the statement was made, the nature of any conversations with the police or any questioning by the police, the defendant's physical and mental condition, including her intelligence, age, education, experience, and personality. Your decision does not turn upon any one factor, and you must consider the totality of the surrounding circumstances.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, may we publish that for the jury at this time?
Yes, do you want to turn off the air conditioning? Is this very short, right?
It is very short, and if we could, please, yes.
Yeah. And this is just audio, correct?
Okay, you're aware he was beaten up at her end with common I mean, we're all in on the same joke, right? My tail end was cracked and John was pulverized.
Thank you. Now, Sergeant, on hearing that statement from the defendant, what was your reaction?
Objection.
Sustain.
On hearing that statement, what, if anything, did you do?
I advised the defendant not to further speak.
Objection.
I'll allow that.
Now, at some point over the course of your investigation, were you made aware of forensic findings relating to the defendant's tail?
Yes, I was.
And specifically DNA findings?
Yes.
and specifically that there were.
Objection.
Sustained. Yes. You can turn the air conditioner.
Okay, I'm back. What was that even, and why only that portion of the interview? Like, what is even happening here? I don't even understand what's going on. Like, I mean, why not just like take certain words that she said in the interview and just splice them together and make it sound like she said something completely different, you know? I mean, because that's where I feel like we're at. We're trying to establish some, it's not transparent. It's not being, it's pretending to be transparent. Hey, Party Sharp. Sounds so confident now. Hi, Autistic Shell.
You are unmuted.
Oh, wait, let me turn my phone off. I was staying up to date there while I ran inside.
Yeah, I'm back. Have one moment.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, how's your vacation? Oh, my God.
So Sergeant Mechanic,
Okay,
on January
did I say
16th,
Party Sharp earlier? I think I did.
2024, at some point in that day, did you meet with a Sergeant Gallerani of the Needham Police Department?
I did.
And who, if anyone else, well, let me ask you this. As far as any other troopers from your office, who, if anyone else, was there with yourself and Sergeant Gallerani?
Trooper Mike Proctor.
And what was the purpose of your meeting with Sergeant Gallerani, Trooper Proctor, on that morning?
Collection of our DNA.
And was that something that you did voluntarily?
Yes.
And how was it that the sergeant collected your DNA?
Through a buccal swab.
And were you present when Trooper Proctor submitted to a buccal swab as well?
Yes, I was.
And then as far as the swabbings that were taken from both yourself and Trooper Proctor, were those logged into evidence by you, or did Sergeant Gallerani take them with him when he left?
Sergeant Gallerani took him when he left.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I know how she feels. When I went to Kansas, I couldn't wait to get back home so I could see my kitty. I miss my cat. I was like, oh my God, my poor cat. She probably doesn't know what to do without me. And Michael sent me a picture of the cat looking out the door, which she never does. I'm like, where are you saying she's looking for me? And he's like, I think so. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's so cute.
My apologies, Your Honor.
That's okay.
Thank you very much, Sergeant. Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Okay. Cross-examination?
Wait, what? For real? Awesome. I've been waiting for this.
Sergeant Buchnick, I want to start with one of the latter things that you discussed with Mr. Lally, and that's specific to the ring video that y'all talked about this morning. Do you have that in mind?
I do.
The search warrant that produced, and just so we're clear, I'm talking about the specific Ring video or series of videos that were associated with One Meadows, Johnny's home.
Okay.
Okay. You didn't write the search warrant for those Ring videos, did you?
I did not.
You were not the affiant for those search warrants.
I was not.
Who was the author of the search warrant and the affiant?
It was Trooper Mike Proctor.
Who received the actual Ring video or videos from the Ring
Oh.
Corporation?
I see what he's doing.
It was Trooper Mike Proctor received it.
And who ultimately either logged those into evidence or controlled those once they were received from the Ring Corporation?
I believe it was Trooper Mike Proctor.
And ultimately, Sergeant Butnick, you did note that in addition to just the physical videos themselves, that login information and login keystrokes, et cetera, were requested from the Ring Corporation as well, correct?
There was discussion with Ring asking for those logs.
I'll call it, is it correct to say an activity log?
That's what was requested, yes, activity log, yes.
So ultimately, the activity log would show who logs in, who accesses the data, things of that nature, correct? Or at least that was the hope.
That is what was requested.
All right. It would also show logging in and executing deletions, manipulating the log files, things of that nature, correct?
That is what was requested, yes.
When you reviewed those log or activity logs, there was no evidence revealed that my client ever logged into that account, correct?
There was no activity logs provided by Ring.
So you have zero, hang on. Isn't it true that Ring contacted Trooper Proctor and indicated that they had created a Dropbox folder that contained the evidence that had been sought in the search warrant?
Objection.
Sustained.
Isn't it true that the search warrant return specified account information, video recordings, and number 3, activity logs associated with the video recordings for all times displayed in UTC?
I'm not aware of that, no.
Do you recall that activity logs were in fact provided from the Ring Corporation?
I do not recall that, no.
Okay. May I approach briefly?
Yes.
Oh, shit. Sorry about that. What? Should he have been aware of this with
Take a
the
look,
activity log?
Sergeant, that paragraph, which my finger's on, it's about the 3rd paragraph down, the middle of the page, and review that to yourself and let me know when you're finished.
Hopefully, now that they're under cross-examination, hopefully today we find out what the hell that was the ordeal with the video yesterday when the defense seemed to get all happier about something when they show was it the Lolliport video or whatever. I mean, because there's been a lot of speculation about it online about what the ordeal was, like why they were. Everyone just seemed to like rush to like whisper to everyone, and then they started like
Have
smiling.
you had an opportunity to review that?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Does this refresh your recollection as to the items received from the Ring Corporation?
That is the first time I saw that document, so it does not refresh my recollection. I simply read it.
So do you have a recollection as you sit here that in fact, during the course of your investigation, the 3 items that you received from the Ring Corporation were the account information, the video recordings, and quote, activity logs associated with the video recordings, all times displayed in UTC?
To the extent of its availability, as it says in that document.
Okay. The long and short of it is, during the entire course of your investigation, you never revealed that investigation never revealed any evidence whatsoever that my client ever even accessed the account information for the Ring account associated with this search warrant, correct?
Nothing provided by Ring proved or suggested or proved any evidence of that type of activity, no.
Thank you. Trooper Proctor, you were notified.
I am not Trooper Proctor.
I'm sorry. No, you're not. Sergeant Buchnick.
Sergeant Buchanan.
How do I say it?
Buchanan.
I'll give that.
Can't.
a shot.
Oh my God. Oh my, I'm dying. I'm fucking dying. Like, I feel like he just got like a little bit of like revenge or something back from all the laughing that Buchanan did to him yesterday. I feel like this was the attorney's way of like, yeah, fuck you.
John.
It's fine.
Buchanan?
Yes,
Is that better?
that's better. Thank you.
If I screwed up, please. On January 29th, you were notified about a Boston police officer found gravely injured outside the home of 34 Fairview at about 6:40 in the morning. Was that your testimony?
That is not.
What time were you notified?
I was not notified it was a Boston police officer.
So you didn't have that information upon the first notification?
I did not.
Okay, what information did you have?
There was a male party in the snowbank, possibly of a heart attack.
At what point did you learn that the individual was in fact a sworn Boston police officer?
I do not know exactly when I learned that he was a Boston police officer.
It was during
No, I'm gonna call bullshit to that right now. This is an officer. This is in New York. This is a Massachusetts state trooper. Okay. You mean to tell me that he's being called to a scene of a death? Okay. Initially, he was told, under the impression it was just a death, whatever, was yet to be determined. And you mean to tell me that he can't recall the moment he was informed that the suspicious death was to a Boston police officer? He can't recall that moment. Like, that's something that's going to stand out, because I feel like that's when his investigation efforts, like, right or wrong, any officer, when they, upon hearing that the victim is in fact another officer, I feel like their tactics, their attention to detail, whatever, should anyways, just be turned up. I mean, yeah, it sucks or whatever. I mean, it should be turned up for all investigations. But I mean, I feel like they take it a little more personally there. So they just instinctively just put maybe a little bit more effort or just attention to it, maybe, And I think that a state trooper is going to know when that moment happens. I don't buy that for a second. I just don't.
that day, following day.
It was most likely that day, either. Yeah.
Fair enough. Trooper Proctor was ultimately assigned as the, what did you call him? Not lead investigator, but case officer?
That's correct.
He was assigned on the 29th, correct?
He was on call from 7 a.m. on January 28th until 7 a.m. on January 29th.
So his assignment was, he was assigned on the 29th because he was on call.
He was on call. His assignment took took effect when the schedule came out back in mid-December.
Okay. Well, he wouldn't be assigned to this investigation
No, he would have been
until there was
assigned
a need for the
to call though,
investigation,
right?
right? And that's all I'm getting to. I mean, once the call came in, he was the assigned case agent.
Once the calls come in, the person that's on call is automatically assigned that case.
All right. Did you personally, as his supervisor, did you personally respond to 34 Fairview at any point on January 29th?
No, I did not.
Did Trooper Proctor, at your direction or on his own, ever respond to 34 Fairview Road at any time on January 29th?
No, he did not.
Based on your initial investigation, and I'm talking about going way back, Sergeant, on your initial investigation, by 10 or 10:30 in the morning, 10:40 in the morning, it was your belief that Mr. O'Keefe had been struck in the face by a person. That was your initial understanding of the circumstances surrounding the investigation, correct?
My initial understanding was that the defendant stated that she hit him. We did not know the...
Sergeant, you hadn't even met my client at that point. You hadn't interviewed a single witness by 10:41 in the
Whoa.
morning, correct? Not one witness.
That's interesting. So he's testifying that he heard or was told that someone made the statement of hitting him, and upon looking or upon investigating, his initial impression or belief was that the person whoever made the statement meant like physically hitting them, like with their body and their fist or whatever, like punching them. Not that a car backed into him so hard that the car's taillight broke off into 20 pieces and the molding popped right off the vehicle and shit, because I feel like, I mean, how hard does he think that Karen Reed can punch? That's what I want to know. Like, and why does he think that?
That's not correct. We had already interviewed the first responders.
Okay, when I say witness, I'm talking about civilian witnesses. So at 10:41, you hadn't interviewed a person at 34 Fairview or civilians associated with this incident, correct?
At that point, no civilians have been interviewed, no.
But at 10:41, Sergeant, you contacted Good Samaritan Hospital to inform them that, quote, Mr. O'Keefe was struck in the face with a cocktail glass, end quote, correct?
I do not recall contacting Good Samaritan Hospital.
Really?
Yes.
I'd like you to take a look at this document, and if you wouldn't mind, pay special attention to the second page, the bottom paragraph where it's tabbed.
And not for nothing, if he thinks Karen Reed can hit that hard to cause damage to a human body that is now being testified to that a vehicle caused, then perhaps Karen Reed punched her vehicle and that's why everything shattered into a million pieces, right? All right, I'm being snarky. Sorry, I'm over here like eating a snack and I don't want to be chewing in everyone's ear, so I keep muting whenever I chew. But I'm reading the comments here, and yeah, no, Shenango's not far from me at all. In fact, like my oldest son and I, like we're canal enthusiasts, so like we'll regularly, like a couple times a month or whatever, go out on like a day trip and visit, one of the points of interest on like the original Erie Canal or the Shenango Canal. Although I don't think that's your town, it's just the other Shenango or whatever that's more south. So yeah, I'm down around there a lot, and was it Lockport, where the flight of 5 there for the Erie Canal, like that's so cool. I never went there before until like maybe I think it was like last fall. My son and I went there. It's the first time I had ever gone, and I grew up here. It's crazy. But yeah. Okay. Yeah, the lip lipping. You're right. Yeah, Shenango Falls. Yeah, I know. They sound the same and they're pronounced similar, but they're spelled completely different. Yeah. There's Shenango and Shittenango. Yeah, you're west for me, and the other one where the canal came from, it's south. I know, like past Norwich and shit, more south. And the Black River Canal too. Like, did you know that when they built that canal, the town of Forestport, they had seen like all of this, like this huge economic boom and everything from the workers and shit being in there in town. So when it was, I'm gonna pause for a second. So when it was completed, and all that money and shit went away, the town was like, they didn't know what to do. So like, I think it was like, they figured out to be like 68% of the town or whatever was in on it. They intentionally sabotaged part of that canal to get people to have to come in and repair it and to create the economic boom again. Like they were found out like the main conspirators or whatever behind it, and they were tried and convicted and shit. Like, I never knew that. That's crazy. Like, who blows up their own town and shit just to make some money?
Thank you, sir. Having reviewed this, does this refresh your recollection that you contacted Good Samaritan Hospital and gave them an assessment, at least based on your investigation at that time?
That is not true.
Okay. What did you say to Good Samaritan Hospital?
I never spoke to Good Samaritan Hospital. That document is for the medical examiner's office.
I'm not asking you where the document is from. I'm asking you if the document says Trooper Yuri Buchanan called back at 10:41 stating the case is now being treated.
The objection's made.
Did you call back to Good Samaritan Hospital and say that the investigation was being treated as a suspicious due to a domestic situation? Did you say that?
I never spoke to Good Samaritan Hospital.
Did you say that there's a possibility that D was struck in the face with a cocktail glass?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you ever contact anybody in any medical facility and indicate that?
Yeah, where's the hospital getting that from then? Come on.
Treated as a suspicious, in quotation marks, because the victim appears to have been struck in the face by a cocktail glass?
Objection.
Allow that. Did you ever say that?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, I did say that to the medical examiner's operations desk.
Okay, so when I was asking you if you ever said it to Good, you said, no, not true. That's never happened. You were correcting me on the fact that it happened at the medical examiner's office, not at Good Samaritan.
I responded and answered your question honestly. Yes.
Okay, so honestly, you did, in fact, at 10:41 a.m. indicate to another professional involved in the investigation that the circumstance.
You want to respond to a question plain semantics, I'm going to call you out. That's not being honest. That's not being open. That's not being transparent. That's being shady and sneaky as fuck.
Was being treated as a physical assault at that point, correct?
I communicated our suspicions to the medical examiner's office.
And that was at 10:41 or thereabouts in the morning, correct?
That's correct.
Your initial investigation during those obviously critical hours, the beginning hours, led you to believe that there was at least a good possibility. You indicated that you made a phone call, that it was a physical altercation that led to John O'Keefe's death, correct?
That's correct, yes.
What steps did you take, sir, in those moments, to determine whether someone in the house at 34 Fairview may have been involved in that physical altercation that you suspected at the time?
As investigations develop, we followed the evidence and statements made. The steps I took was Trooper Proctor and I proceeded to an eyewitness who was also present at the scene when the victim was discovered and interviewed Ms. McCabe.
And prior to interviewing Ms. McCabe, by the way, that was at Ms. McCabe's home, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Even though you believe that there may have been a physical altercation, you didn't ask anybody to come down to the station. Is that right? Any of the witnesses?
That's correct.
And you did not seek to actually go to the physical location of 34 Fairview in those next few hours
That's correct.
or the next few days, correct?
Not myself, no.
As a matter of fact, Trooper
That's
Proctor
crazy.
did not either.
So he's saying that he initially believed or was of the belief that whatever happened to John O'Keefe, Officer John O'Keefe, was through a physical altercation of some sort, and the dude was found in front of this house here on the front lawn, and he doesn't sit there and make an effort to talk to the people in the house, at the house. You know what I mean? Like, he's not interviewing, trying to find out who it is that could have possibly had this physical altercation with this dead police officer. Come on.
Did he?
No, he did not.
You didn't secure the interior of the house as a potential crime scene. You certainly know how to do that, right?
That's a cop-out question. Do you want me to answer whether I did it or whether I know how to do it?
Well, I'll ask the question. If you can answer it, please answer it.
Okay.
Can you answer that question?
I can answer that question.
Why don't you answer both of them then?
First portion is we did not secure the home as a crime scene. And the second portion, yes, I do know how to do that.
And you didn't, as a Massachusetts State Police official, you didn't secure the outside as a crime scene either, did you?
I did not know.
What the fuck?
To your knowledge, nobody else from Massachusetts State Police ever did either, did they?
Yes, they did.
How was that done and when?
When members of our office and the CERT team responded to that location and secured the front yard grass area and processed it.
That was at 5:45, 6 o'clock that night on the 29th?
I believe it was earlier, but I was not present, so I can't testify to the time.
So you don't know personally what they did to quote unquote secure or not secure the crime scene?
Yeah,
You know
they
they
secured
searched
it while they were
but in
searching it,
terms of
though,
securing
right?
it
Didn't
securing it
have
as a crime scene, you don't have personal
between.
knowledge to that.
I was not present.
You never took
I
any
will be
photos of
highest,
the interior of the house, correct?
I did not know.
Oh, you
You
heard
never
this story from your uncle?
caused CSSS to go inside the house and process that house as a potential crime scene, correct?
I did not know.
No forensic criminalist at your direction ever went into 34 Fairview?
No, they did not.
And the people that you interviewed on January 29th, you already mentioned Miss McCabe. The other people were her husband, Matt McCabe, correct?
That's correct.
And her brother-in-law, Brian Albert. Is that right?
That is correct.
And all three of them were interviewed where?
They were interviewed at the McCabe residence.
Now, yesterday when you testified, did you indicate that Brian Albert was not present in the home when you interviewed Matt McCabe and Jennifer McCabe?
He was not present in the dining room when we were interviewing each individual separately.
So if all three of them testified that he arrived before you arrived, they would all be wrong.
I did not see him in the home when we arrived, no.
I want to switch gears real quick to a couple of the physical items that you testified about yesterday, specifically the gray shirt or the gray hoodie and the orange shirt. You and Trooper Proctor collected both of those items you indicated from the floor of the hospital at Good Samaritan, correct?
That's correct.
You testified that you and Trooper Proctor immediately bagged both of those items. They were sort of sopping wet, I think you said.
That's correct.
In my old camera, I think that will show me without the glare.
You indicated that the bags were so wet that you had to take the items back out of the bags and then lay them out on, I think you said, butcher paper. Is that right?
The items were soaked and wet. They were bagged, double bagged, to prevent leakage of physiological fluids and the moisture coming off of it. And then once they were transported to the office, they were laid out on butcher paper in order to dry naturally.
So you went from Good Samaritan directly to Dighton, correct?
That is correct.
And then you went from Dighton directly to the Canton Department, at which you see the vehicle, correct? And the phone.
We seized the phone in the vehicle in Dighton and then followed the tow truck straight to the Canton Police Department.
So at some point, if you had received or gathered the wet clothing at Good Sam, went from Good Sam to Dighton Canton PD, at what point that evening did you finally get those items of clothing out and laid out to dry?
It was late that night, around 10 or so.
So where were the items in the meantime?
They were stored in the back passenger compartment of my pickup truck.
In those double bags.
Correct.
Who took control of the items to then lay them out late that night at the office?
I do not recall.
Is that you or Trooper Proctor?
I don't recall. I don't remember.
At some point, obviously, it's getting late. You'd been on duty for a long time that day. You went home at some point, correct?
At some point, yes.
Did you wait for those clothes to dry before you went home, or did you leave that in Trooper Proctor's hands?
No, once they were laid out in the processing area in the office, we went home.
Okay. Who would have controlled those items of evidence when you left?
Well, they're on lock and key within the secure area of the district attorney's office, so they're secured. Nobody's in physical control watching guard over them.
Who had access to that area?
Troopers in our office.
Meaning you, obviously.
Yes.
As supervisor. Trooper Proctor as well, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Ultimately, given the fact that he was the case officer, sort of in charge, the lead, he would have bagged those items up, been responsible for taking those items,
Okay,
tagging
so-
them, getting them stored
Turns out I was wrong. This one's even worse than the other camera. I don't understand.
wherever they needed to be stored and processed, correct?
As a case officer, he could direct other people to perform those tasks for him. The evidence officers in the office log in the evidence, and once it was dried, it was sealed up, bagged, and put into storage. As far as who actually performed those tasks, I do not know.
Well, yesterday, Your Honor, may I approach the course, right? There's a couple of evidence.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Thank you. This is not a vision contest. I'll bring these up to you in just a second, but just for familiarity's sake, do you recognize these two bags as bags that you brought to court with you yesterday?
They look familiar, yes.
Okay. This one has a 437 on it on my right. The one on my left has a 438 on it. May I approach briefly?
Yes.
I'm not going to ask you to open those. Don't worry about gloving up at this point. The bag on your left, which one is that? 437 or 438?
The bag on my left is 437.
437. Okay. And you indicated that those items were bagged after the clothing was dried and then ultimately processed logged in, correct?
Once the items dried, they were bagged and logged in, waiting processing, yes.
But you didn't personally do that.
No, I did not, no.
Matter of fact, looking at
I've been mute the whole fucking time. Unbelievable. Anyway, I'm still shiny. I still look like I'm wearing a bunch of highlighter or whatever, but it's nothing as bad as it was before. Like you couldn't even see my nose earlier. There's no shadow, nothing. So yeah, but anyway, let's get back. No one wants to hear me, right? I know.
The bag on your right, what's been marked as Exhibit 430, help me, 438, thank you. That one has some writing on it, correct?
Yes, it has a lot of handwriting on it, yes.
And that, whose handwriting is that?
I don't know.
You've seen Proctor's
Yeah,
handwriting?
there's a lot of writing.
Not 1,000 times, but
Does it look like his writing?
it says Trooper Proctor on it. But other than that, I do not know what Trooper Proctor's handwriting looks like.
All right. It indicates that Trooper Proctor is the one that bagged that item or those items up, correct?
Yes, this bag indicates that the item was collected by Trooper Proctor on 129
Right.
at 10.
And it says Brockton, correct?
Good Samaritan Hospital in Brockton, yes.
That was, you just took the question out of my mouth. That's where Good Samaritan Hospital is, correct?
That's correct.
And there's a tag or a printed label, looks like a label maker of some sort, that is on that physical bag, correct?
Yes.
Before we get to that, what's the description on that bag in handwriting?
I'm sorry. Can you be specific as to description of what or?
Where it says description of items.
Description of enclosed evidence?
Correct.
It says 1 orange T-shirt, 1 gray long sleeve shirt.
Okay. So may I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
And before I do that, just so I close this loop, what's the description on the bag to your left, the one that looks like it's less wrinkled?
Number 437.
Yes. If you would read the same clothing description.
The description of enclosed evidence states sweatshirt with recovered items inside container.
Okay. May I approach now?
Yes.
Thank you. Yesterday when you opened, keep my voice up. Yesterday when you opened these two bags, this one, 437, has the gray sweatshirt in it. 438 has the orange T-shirt in it now, correct?
That's what was in the bag, yes.
All right. However, the bag indicates at one point, this bag, 438, the physical bag I'm holding in my left hand, had both the sweatshirt and the T-shirt together, correct?
That's what the description is. I do not know if that was in case or in fact the case.
So what would that mean? That's how things were
The
initially
reason
bagged,
you don't
and then-
know is because you're not the one that bagged it. Trooper Proctor did, correct?
The reason I don't know is I wasn't present during the separation of those items, and I did not observe it taking place, nor was I made aware of how the items were separated or when.
You are aware, however, that tag that's on the label maker looking tag, the white tag that's on that bag indicates that indicates a date of February 4th, correct?
You'd have to bring that back up.
I'm sorry.
I didn't take note of that.
My fault. May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Let's direct your attention to the tag and the date associated with that tag.
The label maker tag does have the date February 4th, 2022 on bag number exhibit 438.
May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Yep.
That's obviously 6 days after the item was actually recovered on the 29th, correct?
Yes, it is.
So that indicates, at least based on that tag, that item was not booked into evidence and processed until 6 days after
Yeah.
it was actually recovered on the floor at Good Samaritan Hospital. Is that right?
The date indicates February 4th, 2022.
Which
Right,
is
and
6
that
days
date
later.
would be indicative, in your experience, of the date that it's moved into processing by some other folks, the evidence sergeants or whomever, or the evidence officers rather, or whomever, correct?
I can't speak to their procedures as far as when they print the date. That date could be when they printed the label. but the bag might have been tagged otherwise. I do not know that.
Wait,
But there's
but he testified yesterday. I think it was yesterday. He testified. No, it was yesterday. He testified to him being the one who collected the articles of clothing and whatnot off of the hospital, the room floor there, that he bagged him. There's question about whether or not he put everything in one bag or if he bagged the things separately. So, I mean,
no other tag on that bag that suggests an earlier date, correct?
There's just that one tag from the label maker.
My question to you, if you know, sir, and you may not know, is what was happening to these items between January 29th, after you lost sight of them that night on the butcher paper?
yeah, I don't blame her one bit, autistic child. I enjoy the hot tub more too.
And February 4th, when that tag
Hi,
indicates
Steffi.
that they were first processed.
To the best of my knowledge, those items were drying on the butcher paper.
For 6 days?
If that's what the label maker says, yes, for 6 days. They were soaking wet.
I agree.
And those
I agree, Lulu. In fact, I think he's even annoyed. I think he's angry, perturbed. I think would be a really good word for it. That he's even having to be put in that position to consider the actions of others and his answers, or to cover them up, rather than just he's annoyed and perturbed that he can't just show up and do his job as expected, that he has to consider all these other things now. That's the impression I get anyway.
those would have been certainly accessible to and in the possession of the lead case officer in the case, who's Trooper Proctor, right?
Yes, if Trooper Proctor needed to review those items, he would have access to those items. Absolutely.
And you're also aware that the actual log of any chain of custody for those items is March 14th, when they were finally submitted 6 weeks later to the crime lab.
That is not true. The first actual log of those items is when we collected them from the hospital.
Where's the log?
Yeah, where is
I'm
it?
talking about a physical log, like a sign in, sign out log. Where's the log?
It's documented in the reports saying that we collected them.
I know that there's a report. Anybody can write a report, right?
Yeah, but
I can write a report. Doesn't mean anything. I'm asking for a log.
Objection.
yeah.
So the
Okay, so you're reporting your actions and the collection of it, but where do the items go after that? Like when you're done collecting your evidence, your information on scene, and you bring all of the information, everything back to your office or whatever, where does everything go then? That's the log he's talking about, because it should be for the next 6 days. It should be showing a chain of evidence thing, like where shit's safe and secure. Even if it just sits there for a while, it has to show that it was put someplace with the intention of keeping it safe and secure and uncontaminated while it sat there waiting for the further processing.
the objection sustained.
Obviously, when items move in and out of people's custody in an official capacity for the Massachusetts State Police, there's a log of that, correct?
It's documented. Yes,
Or at least it should be, correct?
it's documented.
Yeah.
Where's the log of these items before March 14th?
It's documented in the report.
There is no log, is there, Sergeant?
Okay. Great. So then show me, point to me in the report where it says in the report where you put the shit when you brought it back to the office. Where did it go then? Where? Because are you just saying that what is sat in your car or whatever after you collected it and transported it? It just sat there in the vehicle, the transport vehicle? Did you bring it into your office? Did you put it over in the corner? Did you, I don't know, did you put it up as decoration somewhere? Like, what the fuck? You show me, point to me where it is, where it says you put something.
I do not know.
I want to talk a little bit about some searches that Mr. Lally asked you about February 4th and February 10th, very specifically. Both of those searches you were involved with out at 34 Fairview, correct?
Correct.
But Sergeant, you didn't personally write a report about your conduct at 34 Fairview on either of those 2 dates. In other words, you didn't go back to the station and generate a report yourself.
I don't recall doing that, no.
There were no photos that you took of the items at the location.
I did.
Else took photos, correct?
I did not take photos of the items. No.
Okay. And the first report that indicates anything that happened or was recovered at the location on either February 4th or February 10th, that was first notated in a report dated November 4th, 2023, year and several months later, correct?
If you say so, I do not know the exact date. That report would have to be presented to me.
May I approach?
Yes.
You don't have to read the whole thing, but if you can skip to the part that talks about the February 4th and February 10th searches. I'm sorry, I didn't realize you're finished already. What's the date of that? Well, let me ask a foundational question. Does that refresh your recollection as to the date of the report that actually talks about the February 4th and February 10th searches?
It does.
And what's the date of that report, sir?
This report is dated November 4th, 2023.
Thank you. May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, as it relates to those 2 searches, I'd like to ask you a little bit about the February 4th search first. You indicated that you actually responded to 34 Fairview personally, correct?
Yeah.
I was responding to that location on my own. I personally responded, yes.
Okay. That was because you had received information that Chief Berkowitz had seen something or found something. Is that right? Chief Berkowitz from Canton PD.
That is not correct, no.
Okay. So when
Right,
you
he
got there, was Chief
testified.
Berkowitz there?
I think this is the part where I had questions earlier, where he testified that they received a call, or he received a call or whatever, saying that more things were appearing as the snow was melting. Like, who made that call? Who informed him of this? Like, where did that come from?
Yes, he was.
You just happened to go by 34 Fairview at the exact same time on the exact same date as Chief Berkowitz, or was that coordinated in some way?
There was no coordination between me and Chief Berkowitz. As I testified, I had directed the troopers to go by the location. I planned to go by the location in the morning on the way to the office and in the afternoon on the way home, just to see if any more items would reveal themselves. So that morning, I was actually traveling to that location in order to conduct a view of the area to see if any more evidence had been revealed. Prior to my arrival, approximately while I was on Chapman Street, I received a call indicating that Chief Berkowitz was at the location, yes.
And was there also an Officer Lank, Sergeant Lank?
I do not know.
That's awfully convenient. There was no, there's no colluding, whatever. There's no like intentional, like, plan to meet there, whatever. I just happened to get a phone call when I was already on my way there that he was there. Like, come on, dude. Please.
Sergeant Lank was there, no.
Okay. Chief Berkowitz certainly was there.
Yes.
And Chief Berkowitz indicated that as he was driving by, he saw a piece of plastic.
Yes.
And stopped his car and then started making phone calls.
I believe that's what he indicated to the caller, yes.
Did you question Chief Berkowitz about why he was driving by the location in the first place?
Absolutely not.
Okay. You knew at that point that the Canton
Why
Police
not?
Department had been recused.
See, here's the thing.
At least
I am of the belief that these investigators, when they don't ask questions, it's because they don't have some satisfaction that they're looking to fill with an answer. They already have the answer. They already know the answer. And they're happy with that, or they don't want any kind of like documentation of the answer. You know what I mean? So, I mean, this is an investigator. Like, it should be his, like, just instinct to ask questions about things. Like, how did this happen? What are you doing here? Like, what led you here? What did you hear? What do you know? Share with me. If they don't ask that, it's because they already fucking know. in my opinion.
An appearance or potential for conflict of interest, correct?
I knew they recused themselves due to only in respect to interviews. They didn't want to conduct interviews with us side by
Well,
side.
I mean,
But the
if
searches
there's
are
a
okay,
conflict of interest,
right?
Sergeant, for department.
We mean they don't want to conduct interviews with you side by side. Does it mean that they want to conduct their own interviews, or they just want nothing to do with the interviews, period? Because I got the impression that the first time it was they want nothing to do with the interviews, but now you say it like this, and it just sounds like they don't want to do it with you.
Conducting the interviews is just one aspect of investigation, correct?
I'm not going to speak like a conflict of interest, but yes, conducting an interview is just one aspect of the investigation, yes.
So is it your testimony that your understanding was they couldn't conduct interviews, but they could collect evidence, store evidence, write search warrants, get returns on search warrants, execute search warrants, conduct searches? They could do all that but not conduct interviews?
My understanding was they were recusing themselves from conducting interviews. They still allowed us to use their facilities. We utilized their conference room to conduct interviews. There was evidence being stored at their Sally port, being the vehicle. So that was my understanding.
Isn't it true
Why
that
is that?
you knew?
Seriously, I didn't even think about that before. So the Sally Port that where Karen Reed's car was taken to, it was in Canton, right? Yeah, it was in Canton because there was question about whether or not Brian Higgins was there, and Brian Higgins has though he's an agent, he's testified to that he has a local office or whatever in the Canton Police Department. So this was and there's been discussion about him being there when her car was brought in or whatever. So that was in Canton. Why wasn't this taken to the state police facilities? I mean, I don't know how things are done in Massachusetts, but here in New York State, though our local police department where I live is, well, I don't know, it's a town. I'm like 1.1 mile outside of Utica. So I'm actually in a place called Yorkville. And I don't know about their facilities, but Utica I'll use as a reference or whatever. Though I don't doubt that Utica's facilities are probably quite modern and advanced or whatever. I'm thinking though that there's more money to be put into the state troopers or state police than there is to really be put into the city of Utica's facilities. So I'm willing to bet that the New York State's facilities are way better than even Utica's. So why was this vehicle not brought to the investigative body's facilities? Was it brought to Canton? The department, mind you, that felt obligated to recuse itself from interviews, but they were fine with having her car there. Like, none of this makes sense.
That the entirety of the Canton Police Department had recused itself because of a familiarity between one of their members, Kevin Albert, and the Albert family on whose lawn John O'Keefe was found.
Yeah.
That was the conflict, correct?
I knew that was the connection between them, yes.
And you understood, sir, that that agency was to have nothing from an investigative standpoint, nothing to do with this investigation, correct?
They were not conducting the investigation, no.
Matter of fact, Trooper Proctor and you supervising him, y'all were conducting the investigation, right?
Our office was conducting the investigation.
So did you find it unusual or suspicious in any way that the chief of police for the conflicted Canton PD was the person driving by 34 Fairview looking for evidence?
Objection.
Can you answer that question, Sergeant?
He would have to repeat it. There's just so much I can't.
It was a little wordy. I'll try it again. Did you find that suspicious?
Which part? You have to repeat the whole thing.
That Chief Berkowitz from the conflicted Canton PD was at 34 Fairview looking for evidence.
The way you posed the question, I did not find it suspicious at all. He's the chief of the police in the town where he works, and he's driving down the street. I mean, that's not suspicious.
And you, sir, should not be an investigator. If you don't, your instinct, if your gut feeling isn't rising up with suspicion upon seeing that, then you are in the wrong profession, in my opinion.
On the very case that he's driving by.
Objection.
Sustained.
You certainly knew, as a supervisor over the case officer, that any involvement by Canton Police Department, given the fact that there's a potential conflict, any involvement by them could compromise your otherwise clean investigation. You knew that, right?
Not necessarily, no.
Did Chief Berkowitz disclose to you that morning on February 4th that he had been communicating with Brian Higgins and Brian Albert, two witnesses on your case that morning?
Objection.
Sustained.
If you knew information about communication between and among Canton PD and your witnesses, you would find that inappropriate, would you not?
Objection.
Sustained.
You returned to the scene on February 10th, is that right? To conduct another search, you said.
I was present on the 10th, yes.
Who dispatched you back to, or did anybody dispatch you back to that location on February 10th? How did you end up there is a better way to ask it.
February 10th, just like previous days, we made plans to go to the location in the morning, in the afternoon, drive by. I was on my way to work and to home. So I traveled that route on purpose. And as evidence revealed itself due to the natural melting of the snow, we would stop and collect the visible evidence.
You believe at this point, sir, that whatever you might collect at the scene would obviously be important, correct?
Anything we collected that had evidentiary value or presented itself as somehow related to the crime or the incident would be collected.
And it would be important to the investigation, right? You treat it as important.
It is important, yes.
So my question is, was, especially as it relates to the February 10th search, where there were multiple items found, did you seek to have CSSS come out and actually either mark with GPS coordinates or measure with cross coordinates exactly where each item of evidence was found?
We did not do that. We had collected so much evidence already, and so much has been documented at that point, that we did not contact crime scene services to come back out and photograph more shards of glass and plastic.
Why
We
wouldn't
simply
you?
collected it for processing.
So the location of each one of those items was not of that,
So then
Great
why
importance
call him
to
to
you.
begin with?
at least at that time?
It was of great importance as to the fact that it was located in the vicinity where the victim was found and in the vicinity of other items located of the same characteristic, shape, size, and color.
So that's my question. What does vicinity mean?
In the area,
Okay, what does area mean?
Yeah.
it's a location, specific location.
What is it?
Are we talking about, because we can do this all day, I guess, are we talking about an area of 5 feet or an area of 50 feet?
Based on where the items were recovered, we're talking about an area approximately of
Approximately.
30 square feet between the roadway
Okay. See, here's my problem.
into the grass. It's the
Okay, here's my problem with this. Okay. Are they basing what the crime scene square footage area or whatever is this based upon where they found shit? Or, okay, what came first? The establishing of what square footage area constitutes as a crime scene? Or were the pieces found? And then as the pieces were found scattered all over, that's what constituted the area in which was considered the crime scene. Because, I mean, at that point, I feel like you should be able to establish, if you have a theory to a crime, or even if you don't really have a theory, but you're considering all possibilities, you should be able to establish like what square footage of area might possibly contain pieces of evidence, and then establish that, set the parameters, and then go search. But if you are just looking around, and if you don't find anything, you go out a little farther. If you don't find anything, you go out a little farther and farther and farther until you start finding shit. And then that's where you're going to set the parameters. I feel like you're kind of creating, you're being led by just debris rather than by a theory of the crime or the logistics of it. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I'm not a professional by any means. What the fuck do I know? But I don't know. I just feel like there should be some sort of guideline in which to establish the square footage area or whatever, and then go out and search rather than let the other shit dictate it for you. You know, I mean, you can set the parameters, then mark that you found all of these pieces within those parameters, and then you can do a side note saying, but outside of the parameters, there's this, and this. It doesn't mean anything, but we're going to log it anyway, just to be sure. I can maybe see that, but I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't, it seems, I don't know, seems suspect.
You saw photographs, Sergeant, of items that were butted up against a fire hydrant in one instance, correct? Is that yes?
That's correct, yes.
A drinking straw that's out in the road, correct?
That's correct.
Another shard of glass that's in the grass closer to
correct.
the flagpole, correct?
Correct.
A hat that's under the snow adjacent to the left side of the flagpole, correct? I'm sorry, it wasn't. It was closer to the electrical box, wasn't it?
No, the pictures
Well, yeah, that's right.
documented where the
The picture in which he showed the hat there in the snow, you can't really make out whereabouts in the area it is. I'm sure actually, I don't know. I'm not sure of it.
hat was. It was to the right of the flagpole.
So these shards of glass, the point I'm asking is, did you seek to use basic cross coordinates, measurements from something that you know is a known object? Like, for instance, I don't know, a flagpole or a fire hydrant. 27 inches to the north and a foot and a half to the south of those two known points. That would give you a cross coordinate, correct?
It would document the exact location, correct?
And you did not do that with any of these items, correct?
The items that were not photographed were not also GPS located, but they were within the same vicinity of where the other items were collected.
Well,
But
what is a
again,
vicinity?
going back to the same question, your word for vicinity might be different than my word.
Exactly.
Right?
Objection.
Sustain.
And also too, like, I mean, the reason why you have like certain guidelines which to follow and then before you go out and do the work is because if you let otherwise like tunnel vision becomes an issue. Like, how do we know? Okay, like something like vicinity is subjective. Okay, so he is looking at this as an investigator from an investigative standpoint. So if he has a specific theory of the crime in which he's favoring, then he's going to notice and just be programmed without intending to be, but still be programmed to notice things that support his main theory. He's not likely to pay much attention to things that disprove it or prove something else or give credence to something else. You know, I mean, so this is why, like, if you have guidelines in which to follow, you help prevent things like the bias.
When you recover these items or any other items, it's obviously important to memorialize on the evidence bag or in some other way exactly where they're found, who found them, the date, time, etc. Correct?
We do the best we can to document all known information on each evidence item bagged at the time.
And in terms of the February 10th search, I want to just ask you a couple of quick questions about that evidence bag. Did you bag the items into a single evidence bag that you found that day, or do you recall?
I would have to see the bag. If you have those available, I'll take a look. I can answer
With
them.
the court's permission, exhibit, I think it's 310 that was entered into evidence yesterday. I'd like to display that for a second.
Okay.
You're looking at a photograph of what was previously entered into evidence as 310. Can you see that from where you're at? I don't have the evidence bag with me, so if you don't, I can certainly ask the space to enlarge it.
If you can enlarge it, please.
Just the portion on the right. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I didn't realize I've got a photograph of it.
Pieces of red, black, and clear.
Do you need the lights on, Sergeant?
Please.
There you go.
Thank you.
Should make it easier. Sergeant, have you been able to familiarize yourself with that evidence bag?
With the
And I have a real big issue with them still even collecting evidence on February 10th. I mean, I know what he's saying. Oh, well, as the ice melted, more shit became apparent or whatever. But you don't have it secured when no one is there. I mean, so much of this shit, especially from February 10th, could have found its way there or whatever. Not even necessarily through like intended or nefarious means, just by happenstance or whatever. I mean, shit happens, I don't know. I don't like it.
the photograph, yes.
Okay, thank you. Taking a look at that evidence bag, it has the information on it, has your name is collected by, correct?
Correct.
The date of collection is February 10th, is that right?
That's what it says, yes.
Okay. And it indicates multiple pieces of red, black, and clear plastic, right? It actually says 6 pieces of red, black, and clear plastic, correct?
That's correct.
But that is not an evidence bag that was filled out by you.
I did not fill that bag out, no.
As a matter of fact, that's Trooper Proctor's handwriting.
I do not know what Trooper Proctor's handwriting is. I cannot confirm that
shown
that's his
it.
handwriting.
But it's not your handwriting.
It is not my handwriting, no.
Why aren't you filling out your own shit then? Why? I don't know. I get police officers, they should feel like they can trust their colleagues and shit at work, But I also feel like being an investigator, you have like this natural like suspiciousness inside of you of everyone around you. So I feel like you should be filling out your own shit. You should want to fill out your own shit. I wouldn't trust people to be putting shit down as a matter of fact on public record. It's evidence doing that for me. I would not want that. Nope.
Are you aware that this particular bag, that bag that contained those 6 items of plastic material that you already deemed was incredibly important to the investigation, was never going into any evidence until March 14th, the date that it was submitted to the crime lab?
I was not aware of that, no.
Wow. But your name's on it.
We can take that down. If I may approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel like Buchanan is going to be like, yo, Trooper, you got some explaining to do.
Did you ever draft a report yourself documenting the recovery of those 6 items and the other 14 items that you said that you found on the same date, February 10th?
I did not, no.
Did you leave that assuming that Trooper Proctor would document that?
Objection.
Sustained. Ask it differently.
I'll ask it another way if I can. Did you believe that you didn't need to write a report, Sergeant, because Trooper Proctor would take care of that?
I knew that it would be documented. It was already documented on the actual bag as far
But not by
as who
you.
collected it, when, where, what it was, and a report eventually would be authored on it.
But the where, for all these very intricate pieces, the where is left to 34 Fairview.
I want to point out too, like, this was in regards to an investigation about a fellow brother in blue, a Boston police officer. Just all caution was just blown to the wind, basically. Like, someone will do it. Someone will get around to do it. I'm not worried about it. Are you fucking kidding me?
On that, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Is that right?
The general vicinity location of the other items collected and documented with photographs was consistent with the same locations this was collected.
I want to shift gears for just a second. Well, actually, I want to ask one final question about that item.
So Lulu B, yes, yeah. So like, okay, there's a couple of departments involved. There's the Canton Police Department, the municipality in which Officer John O'Keefe's body was found was Canton, Massachusetts. But like a lot of states, I think New York State might even have something like this too. But in Massachusetts, when it's a death or whatever, then Canton can't investigate it. The state police have to then take over. So where this happened initially, Canton PD was involved and was going through the motions and doing all the steps or whatever, even putting in red Solo cups, evidence-wise, for storage. Anyways, they were doing that until John O'Keefe was pronounced dead. Then at that point, or a few hours after that point, whatever, then the troopers, the state police took over. So there's two departments actually involved. And that officer's department is trying to pin all their mishaps and more on Karen. I don't know who exactly is trying to pin this on Karen. I don't know if it's people involved in Canton or people involved in Boston or Boston police, because John O'Keefe was a Boston police department. He didn't work for Canton or the state police. He was a Boston police officer. So their department, if you will. So it seems like, though, out of all of the investigatory processes and steps and everything, Boston PD is not involved. Their only involvement is that they employed the victim. So it's the other departments that people are in question about, the state and Canton. I don't know which department really is trying to push the buck over onto Karen, or if they both are, or I don't know. And then there's some talk about a federal agent from the ATF being involved, Brian Higgins there. I'm not sure, but yes, whoever it is definitely trying to make it look as if Karen did this. It's crazy suspect. Like I was saying earlier in the beginning of the stream, like I don't watch trials. I really don't. But if every trial or most trials were like this one, I'd be watching the shit out of trials. Like if this were reality TV, this would be a fucking popular show, you know? It's crazy.
Based on the documentation that you just mentioned, that it's documented on the bag, and if the bag is presented
I'm gonna mute just for 1 second.
to the crime lab on on March 14th, some 5 weeks later, those items were completely unaccounted for from a log standpoint for the entire time from when they were collected until they were booked at the crime lab, correct?
Objection.
Sustained. Ask it
Did you
differently.
keep possession of those items for those 4, 5, 6 weeks?
Are you talking about the items that were just displayed on the screen?
I am, sir.
I did not.
Okay.
Now I'd like to shift gears to a ring video that you saw yesterday. It's in Exhibit 6, video number 153. That may mean nothing to you. It's the 5:07 a.m. video of Miss Reed's car pulling out of the One Meadows garage. Do you remember that video?
I do.
Okay. You indicated yesterday on questioning, under questioning by Mr. Lally, that Miss Reed's car came in contact with or close to coming in contact with the other vehicle, the Traverse, in the video. Is that right?
Yes, that's exactly what he said.
The video, as I watched the video,
Lolly presented the question as, now, this is the correct video, whatever, showing Miss Reed either come in contact with or come close to John O'Keefe's vehicle. And he said, yes, correct. Like, why are we going to dance around this now? You know, like that's the dude from your side, basically. You agree with them. Why is this now suddenly an issue?
I observed the vehicle come near Mr. O'Keefe's car.
Okay, that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
With the court's permission, may we play that video one more time?
Okay.
If you can pull that up, and then I'm going to ask you to pause.
Did that cup say U.S. Marines on it? Did it?
Okay.
I think it did.
Just play that for a quick second, and then I'll ask you to pause. Pause. Does that appear to be, I'm just pausing it in the first 2 or 3 seconds, does that appear to be the video that you saw yesterday?
It appears that way, yes.
Okay. Mr. Bates, if you could enlarge the area around the the left rear tire of the Traverse. I'm going to ask you, sir, if you'll
I want
pay close
software that does
attention to
that.
what's been zoomed. And when the SUV gets close to it, I'm going to pause it and ask you another question. You go ahead and play this.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to this.
So why don't we
Why are
pause
you
the
checking-
screen, take it down, and I'll see you at sidebar.
Didn't the prosecution, aren't they the ones who fucking put the shit in for evidence? What, they're objecting to what, the other side viewing it? What? Imagine if they could make that argument, like, no, they're not using my evidence for its intended purpose. They can't use it. Okay. What is it? What are they taking so long to argue about? It is.
I'm gonna try to situate myself where I'm out of the way. If we can have the lights dim, Your Honor.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead and enlarge the rear area of the traverse. And I'm gonna ask you to pay special attention to.
I don't think she's guilty. I don't.
that wheel and any
Oh,
movement that you may or may not see. Okay, pause it. Okay, in about the next 3 seconds, Sergeant, I'm asking you to pay special attention to the wheel. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, it moved.
We can have the lights on,
She hit it.
and you can take that down. Sergeant, were you able to see that video? I know it's not the clearest thing in the world. Were you able to see that video?
I'll be honest with you. Like,
Yes.
I've seen that video. So they never enlarged it in the square though like that. I just they like pointed where to look at. I don't even know where I seen this at. It was other, like, I don't know, YouTube places or whatever. And I watched it, but I could never see it move. I'm like, I don't know, I don't see it move. I mean, it doesn't mean it didn't move. It's a shitty quality video, you know what the fuck? I just can't. I don't spot shit all the time, you know. So, but dude, it moved. It good jerk too. How did I miss that before? My God.
What did you notice about the rear wheel of the Traverse?
Based on the motion in the shot with the snow falling, it appears that there is movement, but the video speaks for itself.
Yeah.
What would you assess based on the movement of the rear wheel of the Traverse?
See, you're not an investigator if you are saying it appears, but no, you have to consider all possibilities. You have to investigate each possibility and then go wherever the facts lead you. You don't predetermine it and then try to just mold everything to fit that. Like, you're not doing your job any justice. You're not helping anyone by doing that either.
About whether or not the two vehicles came in contact with one another.
Objection.
Sustained.
Okay. I have just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
You're not there to use these services, these facilities and shit that you have there to mold a story, to use them to create a story and to substantiate a story. You're there to interpret what the evidence tells you. You're in there for the evidence, to interpret the evidence, not to mold it. So, I mean, you're not helping victims. You're not. You're just creating more. Like, that pisses me off.
May I inquire?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm trying to use my time wisely, Your Honor. Yesterday, Sergeant, you were asked about a couple of videos related to the Sallyport garage. Do you have that in mind?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, we watched one of them pretty specifically toward the end of the day yesterday.
Yay. Yes. What was that about?
Did you actually, I want to talk about the one that is the clearer of the two where you slip. You remember that one?
You slip?
If you pull it up, I can.
I will in just a second.
Okay.
There was one where Mr. Lally paused it and you were slipping in front of the vehicle.
I don't recall myself slipping, no, but it was icy that day. So if there's documentation of me slipping, I might have happened.
Fair enough. I didn't mean anything by that other than that was a moment that I thought you might recall to differentiate the videos. It's Exhibit 446, but I don't think that's going to help you. All right, let's see if I can do this another way. Did you actually personally go to Canton PD to retrieve any or all of the videos of the Sallyport? You yourself?
I did go to Canton and collect already extracted video,
Okay.
but it was a portion of video surveillance. I didn't collect all of the video, so
When was the most recent time that you went to Canton to collect a portion of the video?
More recent.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Did you review well, let me ask it this way. Did you collect a video that was sought on or about April 23rd, April 24th this year? Meaning just a few weeks ago.
Did I collect it?
Correct.
I did not collect that video of April this year, no.
You're aware that the video that you saw yesterday was in fact collected after the trial started in April of 2024?
Objection.
Sustained.
Are you aware of when that video that we saw yesterday was collected?
Objection.
Why is that?
I am not aware.
Okay. Was yesterday the first time you'd seen that video?
No,
When had you seen that video previously?
a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. What were the circumstances in which you saw that video?
Objection.
Sustained.
Sorry.
Did you have a meeting with the DA?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you ever have any kind of communication with Mr. Lally about your testimony?
Objection.
What the
Sustained.
fuck?
Can we approach?
Yes.
Sorry, I don't mean to be ignoring you. I'm reading something, and I guess Katie is trying to allege that Robert Shin is
You are unmuted.
or whatever. It's interesting, but like anyone can buy likes for an account.
Yes.
Thank you. Sergeant, did you have any meetings or communications with Mr. Lally in anticipation of your testimony?
Yes.
When was that?
About 2 weeks ago, and then last week, I believe.
And what was discussed generally?
Generally, we discussed the portions of the case that I would be presenting.
Did you write a
Thank you,
report about
Lulu
your communications with Mr. Lally?
You.
No, I did not.
Were you shown any of the videos that you've seen here in anticipation of your testimony?
Not during the first meeting. I did review a video during the second time.
Okay, and that video was that you did see the second time was the interior video of the Sally Port that we saw yesterday, correct?
I'm just trying to remember exactly what video I saw. I had reviewed videos outside of our meeting, so I don't remember exactly what video Mr. Lally showed me.
But you do recall seeing the video that you saw yesterday, the sort of clear one that has the crime scene tape being put up and all that. You have seen that one before.
Yes.
And that was with Mr. Lally, correct?
That is not correct because I do not recall when I saw that video or what video I saw with Mr. Lally.
I see. All right. I'd like to talk about that exhibit 446 for a second, and then I'll show it to you. You indicated that the video all the videos, everything that you saw yesterday was true and accurate, correct? Based on your memory of the events that were memorialized in the video?
The video captures events taking place in accurate fashion, yes.
In an accurate fashion. All right, that's what I wanted to find out. And after you watched the video, I think you were asked by Mr. Lally, does the video show you or Trooper Proctor having access to or messing with in any way that right rear tail light in any fashion? And you said, never.
I was asked if at any point Trooper Proctor and I had came into contact, I believe, or touched the vehicle in that portion of the vehicle. And I said, never, we never touched the vehicle prior to it being properly processed with a search warrant.
And that was specifically his question was to, and your answer was to the right rear portion of the vehicle, right? That right rear tail light.
The right rear damaged taillight, correct.
Right. With the court's permission, I'd like to play a portion of Exhibit 446.
Okay.
Before we begin playing it, Mr. Bates, if you wouldn't mind, may I inquire, Your Honor, of the witness, just to lay a foundation? Sergeant, do you recognize this as being the video that we saw yesterday?
It does look accurate.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page. This is 446, just so you have it in mind if I reference that. Space, if you could play that. And I think it's runtime 120. Pause it. Do you recognize that as the video we saw yesterday?
Yes, I do.
Very briefly, if you could move to time of day, 5:37:05. court's permission, can we play at this point?
Yes.
All right, that shows the vehicle coming into the Sally Port, and we're looking at which side of the vehicle?
So that is the driver's side of the vehicle. What that video depicts is a mirror collection. Although mirrors are accurate representation of what you're seeing, it's just inverted. So that is the driver's side of the vehicle. I do not know why it is inverted, but that's the way it was presented, collected and presented from Canton Police.
Can you see a timestamp or a time and date stamp on the bottom of that? It's in blue.
I cannot know.
Okay. Does it appear that time and date stamp, if you can't read every letter on it, that is in correct order? In other words, that's not inverted.
I cannot read it, no.
All right, let's go ahead and play this for a second. Who is that just got out of the car?
I do not know. I think that's the tow truck driver. He would have the only access to the vehicle. We did not touch the vehicle.
Who's that on the left?
I missed that. I was looking down at the laser pointer. I do not know. I know for a fact I'm the gentleman that's wearing a dark olive drab state police baseball style hat, and Trooper Mike Proctor is wearing a winter hat.
Trooper Proctor's wearing what?
A winter hat.
Back that up. Just that was playing, and I didn't realize it was playing while you were talking. Stop. And stop. Yesterday, when you testified, you indicated that the two individuals in this scene were you and Trooper Proctor, correct?
That is not correct. There was two individuals in the rear of the vehicle I shined my light to. That was me and Trooper Proctor.
Do you see Trooper Proctor toward the back of the rear of the vehicle there?
I can't tell because of what. The head is. I just know that Trooper Proctor was wearing a black hat.
Which the person in that in the video to the left, to the rear of the car, is wearing a black hat, correct?
I can't tell. I don't want to be locked into a statement where later on you show me that it's somebody else magically. I can't testify to that.
There's no magic about this. It's your testimony. I'm just asking you what you see.
I don't see that. No.
Stop. Let's go ahead and play at this point. Do you see the person toward the back of the vehicle walking toward the opposite side of the SUV?
I do.
What area does he appear to be going to?
He appears to be going towards the rear passenger side of the vehicle, although it does not appear so because the video is inverted, a mirror image. That's where he's going.
And Sergeant Buchnick, you testified for at least a half an hour about this video yesterday, correct?
I'm sorry, it was a long day. I don't know the timing of how long I testified.
You significantly testified about this video yesterday, did you not?
I testified about this video.
And you testified that it was true and accurate, correct?
Correct.
You testified that it was reflective of your observations of what was happening in that Sally Port that evening, correct?
I testify that this is a accurate scene and collection of video evidence from the Sally Port.
And as that truck sits in that Sally Port, just like this, it appears from all perspectives that what we're looking at is the passenger side of the car, and that right rear taillight is right there shining in our face, correct? From this perspective.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
From this perspective, from the perspective that the jurors are looking at,
Okay.
from all indications, that would appear to be the right side of the truck, the passenger side of the truck, and that taillight that you can see is the right rear taillight from this perspective, correct?
The way it presents itself, yes.
And yesterday, during the entirety of your questioning by Mr. Lau, once did you mention that the video is actually completely inverted?
No,
Mr. Lally didn't ask you if it was inverted, correct?
that's correct.
And if I hadn't
How
gotten
long
up here
were they
to
muted for?
question
God
you,
damn it.
that would be left uncorrected, correct?
I don't know if you heard me or not, but I'm going to just say it all over again because this is really driving me nuts. Why fucking do this? Okay, it's like the investigatory body is looking at this and thinking, I mean, assuming what he's saying is true and that this is in fact inverted. It's like the police department is thinking, we have things way too fucking easy. Let's give any future defenses or whatever an argument here. Let's make this really complicated and difficult for any and all juries who have to view this video evidence so that they can look at this and think, what the fuck? You know, because that's how we like things. We like a challenge. That's what you're doing by showing the shit inverted. Why is it even recording inverted? If you need a camera over on that side or something, or a better or different angle, then you set one up and you let it fucking just film as it is. You don't go through these stupid little tricks or, fucking practices or whatever, or like, like keeping you on your toes here or whatever. Like, come on. Why are you making things more difficult? Why? Because this is going to, I'm looking at it and I feel like I can't trust what I'm seeing because you're playing games by flipping shit around on me. Why fucking do that? Why? And that's assuming what he's saying is true. I'm not sure I buy it. It looks like the fucking passenger side to me. To which case I have to say, look at it when they pull in, okay? Here, where are we at time-wise? Oh, wait, this is still going. So I'll try and get this right. Okay. So, like, once you see this vehicle pull in, it looks like there's a white light coming from where the tail light is. Right over there. It looks like a white light when it pulls in. So seriously, back rewind, look at it. I don't know. So if he's telling the truth and inverted, then that would make that the driver's side tail light. But this has all been about the passenger side tail light, right? So which is it?
Objection.
Sustained.
The person with the winter cap appears to walk directly to the what ultimately should be the right rear taillight of this car, correct?
By initial image.
That's the vicinity, yes. That's where he is. Yeah.
I knew it. I'm going to mute.
Pause it. I'd like you to pay attention to the right rear of this car. And I know we're completely backward, but it's the far corner of the car. Do you see a person's head there?
It appears as if someone's still there.
And that person is located at or near what portion of the car?
In real life or as it's depicted?
Is the person in real life, near the tail light of the car?
Yes.
Matter of fact, standing there hovering around it, correct?
We don't know the distance that they are in proximity to the actual vehicle. We just know that they're behind the vehicle. That
Looks like it's pretty close, doesn't it, Sergeant?
Objection.
Sustained.
Does that look like he's in close proximity to the right rear tail light?
as I said, I can't tell how far it was from.
His head's right there, sir. You can't tell that he's right next to the right rear tail light?
Objection.
Sustained.
I want you to pay attention to what that person does as soon as the other person comes out from behind that car. See if you see him move. Stop it. Do you see that person move?
Right there.
I
right there.
saw movement in the frame, yes.
I'm gonna pause it for a second. Right here, see the white? I mean, now maybe this is part of the light's features and just where the white part of the tail light images or whatever, but maybe not. I don't know. So I want to look at this. What is that sticking out from it? Or is that behind it? I don't know.
Right when the other person is in eyesight of the person toward the right rear, correct?
I mean, the video speaks for itself.
Yeah,
it does.
that's what he's saying.
Objection, Your Honor.
The objection sustained. No commenting, Mr. Jackson. We've talked about that.
I'm going to ask Mr. Bates to back it up because there's one other issue I want you to pay attention to, if you can, right at this moment or right before this moment, and that is the timestamp. We can back it up in maybe 10 seconds. Right about there. Don't play it yet. Instead of paying attention to the individuals, I'm going to ask you, can you see, may I approach the screen here? Yes. Can you see the timestamp at 5:37 and 37
I don't
seconds
see a timestamp.
PM? Can you see that from where you're at?
No, I cannot.
Me neither. That's why I don't walk up to it. Let's play it for about 10 seconds. Pause it. Did you see another person just appear toward the rear end of the car?
There was a fog of some sorts. It did appear as if a person was actually in. There was two people back there, and two people walked away, or one person walked away.
It did appear that way.
Timestamp jumped to 5:38:01. Correct?
I cannot see the timestamp, sir.
Okay. Did it appear that there was an anomaly? There was a portion of that video that was deleted. What's missing? Not deleted, but just missing.
Objection.
Can you tell that? Does it appear that way to you, Sergeant?
No, Your Honor, I cannot tell what is happening with the video.
If you take a close look at there's a classic police car in that Sally Port, correct?
There's an antique vehicle there. Yes, yes.
If you take a close look at the trunk of that vehicle, you see the word police?
Yes, I believe I can read that. Yes.
And it's backward, correct?
It is mirrored, correct.
That's a good indication that this is an inverted video, right?
It appears that way, yes.
And if we were to fast forward at 5:42, not another 20 seconds.
I'm gonna end up pulling this up on my TV when I go
Play
inside.
at this point? No.
Look at it better.
Pause it. You see the Sallyport garage came down?
Yes,
You see a number on the garage?
I do.
Is that correct?
What is correct?
Does it work here, correct?
Sure, yeah. Number 4.
No, the number's in the mirror image, yes.
Yeah, but
I
it's
just wanted to make the point. Everything in this video is completely backward, correct?
It's not backwards, it's mirrored,
yes,
reversed.
it's
You
backward.
can look yourself in the mirror in the morning. You still see your own face. It's not backwards.
But my mirror image is not an accurate depiction of who I am. My
Jack.
actual physical appearance is who I am, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
A mirror image, Sergeant, is not an accurate video.
True.
This isn't.
Objection.
It's a mirror image by definition.
Yeah,
Sustained. Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
it's an inverted image. Inverted from its natural from the natural depiction that it's presented into the world. It is mirrored, it is inverted, it is not accurate, it is different. Okay, because like let's think about it. Really, when you think about it, what's anything that you lay your eyes upon, you see? Okay, it is a presentation of the things there in front of you. If they are not presenting to you, if you see the things right there in front of you, but then you look at them elsewhere and they're backwards, then the image that's being perceived back to you has been altered. And you can sit here and say, like, well, it's a moot argument or whatever, because everything's still there. And maybe that's the case. I don't know. That argument, I mean, is worth having. I get that. But you can't sit there and act like there's no difference. No, because there is. I get that. Why make it so hard, so difficult for people to accurately interpret and spot what it is they're looking at by mixing it all around, by turning it, by inverting it? Why? Why?
I just want to thank you. I would like to mark. I have a. We can bring the lights up.
Let's wait.
Okay, so if you were playing back a video of something, just playing it back normally, the way it plays, then it's going to present to you. You're going to be looking at something on screen the way you would see it in real life had you been there, okay? Be standing right where the camera is located on the area in which was being filmed. If you're standing in that same spot as the camera and your eyes are at the same level, height, and distance and direction as the camera, it's going to look exactly the same as it does on the video that you're watching it replay on, okay? To invert it, you have to manipulate it. You have to manually, intentionally flip shit around and have it display back differently to the person watching it.
I have a thumb drive that I'd like to have marked with the court's permission.
Does Mr. Lally know what's on this thumb drive without you telling us?
I do not.
Okay.
We can approach and I can certainly bring it up.
We're trying to wrap up our morning.
No, you let the shit play out.
It's marked for identification.
God damn it, you let the shit play out.
I'd like to play the first 10 seconds of that video.
No. We'll come to that. Marked for identification, right, Mr. Jackson?
You are
I'm gonna be so mad if this isn't allowed to play out today, or at all, really in general. But especially if it's not allowed to play out today, I'm gonna be so mad. I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna feel like she did this shit on purpose, like she's leaving a cliffhanger or something. Which actually might be kind of smart if they're like trying to get views and shit. It might actually be kind of smart. I don't know. I'm still gonna be mad though. I'm muted, aren't I? Am I muted? Oh no, I'm not. Okay. Yeah, I think the judge is a bit biased. I think she's trying not to be, but I think she is. I do think, you know what, I think that she's just like naturally biased because she's, on the same side, really. But I think that she really despises the prosecutor so much that she can't help to be a bitch to him at times, which plays for the, defense a little bit, but I think that's what it is. feel like the longer the sidebar takes, the longer, the less likely we're going to be to see this reach any kind of conclusion where he's going with this today. And I forget, is there, I don't think, I'm not sure, I don't think that there is court tomorrow, is there? Which means it's going to be another long fucking weekend. We got to wait till Monday. If there's even court on Monday, like, this is crazy. I get it, it's summer though. A lot of people go on vacation and shit, so it's going to happen, but it's fucking annoying. Anyway, while we're waiting for that, let me go on over here to Twitter and see what's going on. So, I'm just going to say this here. If someone routinely jumps to the whole accusations of you buy clicks, likes, followers, views, whatever, if that's a regular argument you make, I'm of the belief that it's what you do. I mean, if it's like one thing, like there's a crazy like discrepancy that you happen to notice, and that's when you make the accusation, okay, fine, like the one time. But if you just blanketly do that, regardless of what thing you may or may not have noticed, then I am of the belief that you are accusing, and of the belief that other people are doing it because you yourself know that people do it because you do it. That's where I'm going to land on that. So yeah, I think Katie herself buys a lot of that shit. Let's see. I don't even know who that is. Sorry, I'm looking at Twitter here. What's going on? Let me check out Balls' account. They really usually stay on top of shit there. All right, so what do we have here? The accounts on an AHYT channel are glorious and who's and what? They will be told to unalive themselves and be accused of being Robert or being in Robert Shin's cult. What is this? Dancing for the Devil. Melanie Wilking responds to Miranda Derrick's statement. Exclusive. Miranda's a big girl and can make her own decisions. A follower commented, "This is pathetic. Defamation of someone's character needs to be treaded lightly. Whether she is in a cult or not, it was her decision." Someone replied to that, "You clearly have no family." Someone else, or the commenter replied, "Smart ass. I do have family, older kids, but I will not interfere in their lives. Live and learn. To defame someone's character is legally wrong, and your name is being saved." Someone else replied, "Completely true. This family gives me the chills, exactly like Britney's family. Miranda was forced to perform since age 2. Someone else commented, "Why don't they leave her alone? They want to help her, but they destroy her more. It seems that she is envious of her sister because Miranda is successful." Someone else commented, "You don't love her unconditionally, but only if she performs with you and does what you want. Malignant narcissist. The family is as scary as a cult." Someone else commented, "The family is narcissist. They need to learn to respect the boundaries of another adult, no matter their amount of fear. They didn't get what they wanted, so now elevate their oppression to the daughter who simply has..." I can't read the rest of that. So, oh, I see what Balls is saying. All right. Balls is saying that that these people will be, what? I don't know. Oh, to someone to tell them to go K themselves. Okay. I think that's what they're saying. Oh, wait, there's more here. My bad. Someone commented, this family is sick. Someone, the same person, giggling hamster, I like the name, commented, what is wrong with her attending services via Zoom? This girl is so jealous of her sister and destroyed her shine. Gross. Followed by, she throws around the word.
You are unmuted.
Janet, we're gonna have you come back on Monday.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll just wait. Jurors, I know that you want to know when this case is gonna end, and I don't mean that in any negative way. After speaking with the lawyers, I can safely say that you get this case for your deliberation sometime the last week in June. We'll know better next week. We will not be in session next Tuesday. We will go full days, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week. We will not be in session next Tuesday. All right, I have to give you those cautions again. Please do not
What the
discuss
fuck?
this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into this case. If you happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case, please disregard it and let us know. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. They don't want the jury to go and do any self-investigating, but they're leaving the jury with this fucking massive cliffhanger right there. It's like, I'm not sure I'd be able to sustain myself from that temptation if I were in their shoes. I don't know. That's crazy. I mean, you just, I want to know what the fuck that was about. Let's maybe more be done or whatever. Let's see.
You are muted.
I can't tell if Jackson's smiling out of satisfaction or happiness or out of like frustration. Am I muted? No, I'm not. Okay. I keep thinking I'm muted now.
Thank you. All right, so I received a motion from the Commonwealth this morning that I have not had an opportunity to read yet. It's on my desk. I'd like to go spend a few minutes looking at that and come back out at 12 o'clock on that.
In order for us to argue it?
Yes. Do you need?
I don't get it either.
Okay.
We've been busy.
All right.
Could we do it on Monday?
I want to get as much evidence in as we can each day. We can do it at 8:30 Monday morning, I think. Madam Court Reporter, can we do it at 8:30? Yeah, Jim?
Sure. Absolutely fine with us. Not that it matters.
Can we do it at 8:30 Monday morning?
If that's what the court wants, yes.
Yeah, we'll have a hearing on it at 8:30 Monday. Are you around tomorrow? Are you around tomorrow?
Oh, am I? Yes, absolutely.
Do you want to do it tomorrow morning?
If I had a preference, I would say Monday.
All right, we'll do Monday morning at 8:30.
I'm sorry. Monday. Okay,
And if you want to put something in writing, just email it to us this weekend.
will do.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you then.
All rise for the court, please.
Huh. Well, okay then. So done with that. Yeah, it's bullshit. All right, so I'm gonna wrap this. Oh, I'm sorry, I just hit the microphone. I'm gonna wrap this up because I want to go and see what I can find out online. I'm in a couple of Facebook groups concerning this, and I want to see if there's anything in there. And I want to pull up that video on my TV, and I want to check out a couple of things. So if I see anything of interest, I'll share it with you guys. But I don't know, we'll see. Anyway. Bye, everyone. Thanks for being here. And thanks for the replay if I get anyone. I just, like I said, I'm probably the last person anyone should watch a trial with if they want to learn or understand anything. But if you want to just hang out and bullshit and speculate, then yeah, come by and hang out. But anyway, thanks for being here, guys. Bye.